Chapter 438. Beyond the Heavenly Mandate Continent, or rather, beyond the Heavenly Mandate Island, was the vast Shenwu world, which was also the world where the Jiyo tribe was located in Long Yu's memory. The beyond the sky, that the Azura princess mentioned was the world outside the Shenwu world. All the strange beasts and the mysterious woman, Consort Yu, all came from beyond the sky. It was only then that Long Yu finally realized how big this world was. The Heavenly Mandate Continent was nothing more than a floating island. However, to Long Yu's disappointment, the Azura princess had never heard of the Jiyo tribe. He didn't know if it was because it was too far from the Shura County, or because the Jiyo tribe was too hidden. "How's the ancient tower?" the Azura princess asked. "I remember that the first floor of the ancient tower seemed to have collapsed." "Thank you for your concern. The ancient tower is fine." Long Yu waved his hand. "If that's the case, I'll send you away. Why don't you come with me?" The Azura princess looked at Long Yu with admiration. "You're strong and smart. You're qualified to be my subordinate. What do you think?" "I won't leave this place until I get my revenge." Long Yu shook his head. If others knew that Long Yu refused such an opportunity without hesitation, they would probably curse him to death. After all, it was the young princess of the Shura County who invited him. Even the young geniuses of the Shura County, who weren't on the Heavenly Mandate Island, couldn't wait to become the subordinate of the Shura County princess. However, Long Yu refused. "Do you know that the number of young geniuses who want to be my subordinate can fill the entire Heavenly Mandate Island?" The Azura princess raised her eyebrows and snorted. "Any of the geniuses in the Shura County would be as talented as you. It's not that I don't want to be your subordinate. It's just that I have things to do here." Long Yu said calmly. "You said you haven't gotten your revenge. What is it?" the Azura princess asked. "During the battle with the beasts, one of the Sect's vice palace lords framed me and caused the death of one of my friends." A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. He recalled the scene of Wang Chongfeng blocking the Divine Ability Secret Realm's sure-kill attack for him. Then, Wang Chongfeng's tattered clothes were torn to pieces, and he died on the spot. All of this was because of Deputy Palace Lord Xiao of the Nine Heaven Star Palace. If not for the white-haired Deputy Palace Master Zhao's sudden intervention to stop Long Yu from entering the ancient Dragon Bone Pagoda, Wang Chongfeng wouldn't have been needed to protect him. If Long Yu didn't kill Vice Palace Master Xiao, how could he face Wang Chongfeng, who died in his place? Although this old man was not a good person, he had always taken good care of Long Yu. Whether it was the Tears of the Firmament blood cultivation technique, or the initial water manipulation martial technique, or the Dragon Sparrow dance movement martial technique, they were all of great help to Long Yu. In the face of a great enemy, you people of Heavenly Mandate Island still have selfish desires and want to harm you? The Azura County Lord's eyes lit up in surprise. "Not bad." Long Yu nodded. "If I'm not wrong, that person is a Heavenly Tribulation Realm expert. With your current strength, it won't be easy for you to deal with that person." The Azura County Lord burst into laughter. "Why don't you come back with me and use the resources of the Azura County to quickly improve your martial arts realm? You can come back when you've reached the Divine Secret Realm. At that time, it'll be much easier for you to take revenge." "You're right." Long Yu glanced at the young princess, and then he said, "It's not impossible for me to go back with you and be your subordinate. But I have a condition. If you want me to avenge you, then forget it. My father has decreed that Azura County's martial cultivators are not allowed to interfere with the matters of the subsidiary floating islands." The young princess shook her head. "Of course, I'll take revenge myself." Long Yu chuckled. "My condition is related to the Heaven Prison Thunder Pool. My father went into the Heaven Prison Thunder Pool 20 years ago. I want to go in and find him, but I don't know what's in the Heaven Prison Thunder Pool and whether it's dangerous." "Isn't the Heaven Prison Thunder Pool one of the 3 forbidden places on Heavenly Mandate Island?" The young princess was a little surprised. Your father has been in there for 20 years. He's dead for sure. That place is full of divine power. Even if I go in there, I won't be able to come out alive. I can't be at ease if I don't go in and have a look. Long Yu frowned. How about this? First, you become my subordinate. If you perform a meritorious deed, then I can legitimately ask my father to let him in to take a look. The young princess rolled her eyes and came up with an idea. What do you think? It's a good suggestion, isn't it? You want me to be your subordinate so badly? Long Yu asked with a faint smile. It's okay. Anyway, you're quite pleasing to the eye. At least you're not like the others who flatter me every time they see me. The young princess waved her hand. That's not the point. The point is that as long as you become my subordinate, you'll naturally have more cultivation resources. You'll be able to improve your martial arts plane at the fastest speed. For you, there are only advantages and no disadvantages. Are you sure? Long Yu glanced at the lively girl in the black skirt. He always felt that if he really became her subordinate, there would be a lot of trouble coming to him. Ahem, of course there will be disadvantages. But with your strength and brains, you'll definitely be able to turn misfortune into blessing. The young princess coughed and said honestly, if you become my subordinate, there will definitely be many young geniuses who will be jealous of you. They will continuously challenge you. Do you dare to fight with the geniuses of our Shura County? If they are at the same plane as me, I'll kill one if one comes. If two come, I'll kill a pair. Long Yu said casually, but if their plane is much higher than mine, then it's hard to say. Geniuses whose martial arts plane is much higher than yours won't even bother to challenge you. So, do you agree to be my subordinate? The young princess's eyes were filled with hope as she looked at Long Yu. I have to go to Yellow Sand Sky City first. Long Yu said. That's okay. I'll go with you. The young princess said with a smile. Didn't you say that you can't interfere with the affairs of Heavenly Mandate Island? Long Yu raised his eyebrows. I'm just going with you to take a look. This is not interference. The young princess had a sly look on her face. And don't worry. If it's not necessary, I won't let anyone discover my existence. You can go and do your own things. After you're done, you have to follow me back to Shura County and listen to my orders from then on. Long Yu knew that this was an excellent opportunity. Although it was a little unpleasant to listen to a little girl, she was the princess of Shura County. One had to know that the Azura region governed hundreds of floating islands like the Heavenly Mandate continent. In this way, Long Yu could go to the outside world without passing the selection. This was a great opportunity that others could only dream of. There was no reason to give up. Of course, before leaving, Long Yu must go back to Yellow Sand Sky City to see his mother, Bei Yuyao, and give her the 100 refined 5 elements elixir that Wang Chongfeng had stolen. Bei Yuyao's Dantian was seriously injured. Xiao Ziji, the new elder of 9 Heaven Star Palace, used this 100 refined 5 elements elixir to convince Bei Tianyi to marry Bei Yuyao and cure her Dantian injury. Wang Chongfeng took the opportunity to steal the 100 refined 5 elements elixir and cripple Xiao Ziji. This made Long Yu feel very happy. Unfortunately, Wang Chongfeng was killed by Xiao Ziji's grandfather, Deputy Palace Lord Xiao of 9 Heaven Star Palace. Long Yu didn't have the strength to avenge this blood feud, but it wasn't impossible. Wait here. I'll fool those guys in the Heavenly Tribulation realm first. Long Yu's perception was transmitted to the first floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower through the dragon scale of the Tartarus realm, where the stairs leading to the second floor were. Here, Sha Yuantian, Ling Zhiping, Deputy Palace Lord Xiao, Ling Hu Qianyan, and others were still gathered together, discussing countermeasures. Until now, they still didn't know that the beast tide on the Heavenly Mandate continent had been resolved. Some cracks had appeared on the walls of the first floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, which made these Heavenly Tribulation realm cultivators a little anxious. What Long Yu wanted to do was to fool these guys and see if he could instigate a civil war between them. At the very least, he wanted to see if he could kill Deputy Palace Lord Shao. Killing someone wasn't the only way. If you guys don't come to an agreement soon, the ancient tower won't be able to hold on any longer. When that happens, none of you will be able to survive. Long Yu's voice was transmitted through the dragon scale of the Tartarus realm, landing in the ears of Sha Yuantian, Ling Zhiping, and the other heavenly tribulation realm cultivators. Everyone was delighted. That was because there was no more news from Long Yu after he set foot on the second floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. No matter how they begged, Long Yu didn't come out. It was obvious that he didn't want to care about what was happening here. If this continued, wouldn't they all be doomed once the ancient Dragon Bone Tower was destroyed? Cracks had already appeared on the walls of the first floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. These cracks made everyone anxious, and they couldn't help but consider the possibility of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower being destroyed by exotic beasts. In reality, if not for the mysterious woman, Consort Yu, appearing, the ancient Dragon Bone Tower might really have been destroyed by the exotic beast kings of the Imperial Path secret realms. Now, Long Yu was taking advantage of the situation to threaten everyone. Long Yu, as long as you come out, everything can be discussed. Right now, it's more important for us to deal with the exotic beasts together. Ling Hu Qianyan said with a solemn expression. That's right. Little brother Long, you'd better come out quickly. Otherwise, the entire heavenly mandate continent will fall and be occupied by exotic beasts. Your friends and family won't be able to survive. The little old man from the Chess Soul Valley said indifferently. His words were laced with a hint of threat. Haha, do you think that's enough to threaten me with that? Long Yu laughed and said straightforwardly, if you guys agree to one condition of mine, I'll hand over the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Otherwise, we'll all die together. What condition? Everyone was excited. Kill Deputy Palace Lord Shao. Everyone's expressions changed at Long Yu's words. Chapter 439. The young lord could roughly guess what Long Yu was up to when she saw how sinister he was. It'll be weird if those old fogies fall for your tricks. The young lord giggled. No matter what, it's always good to give it a try. What if they really fall for it? Long Yu narrowed his eyes. Right then, the heavenly tribulation experts gathered on the first level of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower began to ponder carefully. Many of them looked at Vice Palace Master Shao with malicious intent. Vice Palace Master Shao was pale with fright. Don't listen to that little bastard. Even if you kill me, there's no way he'll hand over the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. That's not necessarily the case. I think Long Yu should be very cooperative without you. The Glass Moon Palace's Grand Palace Master in a red dress said indifferently. Palace Master Ling, if you support us in killing Vice Palace Master Shao, you'll be in charge of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. How about that? Sha Yuantian looked at Ling Zhiping, who was beside Vice Palace Master Shao. He raised his brow and asked. Those words clearly made Ling Zhiping envious. However, as the Palace Master of 9 Heavenly Astral Palace, he was no fool. How could he help outsiders against his own people? It would be fine if they could really obtain the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. However, the problem was that they had yet to see Long Yu. Cut the crap. Ling Zhiping's face darkened. Long Yu, if you have the guts, hand over the ancient Dragon Bone Tower to someone you trust first. We'll carry out your conditions together. That's the most appropriate way. Palace Master. Vice Palace Master Shao was stunned. Ling Zhiping really wanted to use his life in exchange for the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Shut up. Ling Zhiping glared at Vice Palace Master Shao, secretly cursing this old fogey for being retarded. Hand over the ancient Dragon Bone Tower first. What value do I have in your eyes? Why would you carry out my conditions? Long Yu laughed. Since that's the case, forget it. We'll just wait to be killed by the beasts together. No matter what, I'll definitely die later than you guys. After saying this, Long Yu no longer paid attention to the group of people. Just now, he was just speaking casually. He didn't really expect to frame Vice Palace Master Xiao to death. You said you want to go to Yellow Sand Heaven City now? On the 7th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, the young princess in a short black dress asked Long Yu. I have a medicinal pill on me that I want to bring to my mother. Long Yu nodded. Then let's go. There's no time to lose. The young princess said to Long Yu, By the way, your name is Long Yu, right? Not bad. Long Yu nodded. This little girl must have heard his name from someone else. What's your name? I won't tell you. Normally, you have to call me Master. The young princess said proudly. Impossible. Long Yu glanced at the young princess and said after a pause, Since you won't tell me your name, I'll just call you Princess. How petty. My name is Shu Chan, remember it. The Azura County Lord pouted. Only then did Long Yu chuckle lightly. Before long, Long Yu sent Shu Chan, the Azura princess who was trapped on the 7th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, out of the tower through the Dragon Scale of Hades. The Dragon Scale of Hades contains some sort of spatial power. Not only was it a vast space to store the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, but it could also perform some special technique. For example, it could send the others trapped on the 7th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower out. As for Long Yu himself, he could clearly feel that he had relied on the spatial power of the Dragon Scale of Hades to leave the 7th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. The two of them left the ancient Dragon Bone Tower and saw the ruins of the Eastern Academy of Revelation. Fortunately, all the exotic beasts present had been completely killed. Under the power of the mysterious woman, Consort Yu, the swamp exotic beasts did not even leave a trace. All that was left was a dilapidated ruin floating in the air, floating in the colorful light of the Tiangang. The sun was shining brightly in the sky. It was a good day. The crisis of the exotic beast tide had finally been resolved. Not far away, a group of people was gradually approaching. They seemed to be people from the Eastern Academy of Revelation. Do you want to see them? Shu Chan glanced at them and seemed to have heard the voices of the group. She then asked Long Yu. Shu Chan's cultivation was extremely tyrannical. She was able to see the other party, she was able to hear the other party's words, but the other party had yet to discover her and Long Yu's figure. I won't see them. Long Yu shook his head. He had helped the Sacred Academy of Revelation get rid of so many exotic beasts. It could be said that he had done his best. Although he was not the one who resolved the crisis in the end, if it were not for him, the situation would have been very bad. Long Yu did not know anyone in the Eastern Academy of Revelation. There was no need for him to see them. He put the ancient Dragon Bone Tower into the Dragon Scale of the 9 underworlds and then followed the princess, Shu Chan, flying up to the 11th level of the Tiangang above their head. Break! Shu Chan let out a delicate shout, and a burst of pitch-black light was emitted. Instantly, the 11th layer of the Heavenly Dipper was easily broken, and she brought Long Yu through it. Shu Chan, what kind of divine text power is this? Long Yu asked. Azura Divine Text, a branch of the Shadow Divine Text power. Shu Chan did not hide it and said it directly. Then she asked, Do you know the 8 major attributes of divine text? I don't know. Tell me. Long Yu was a little curious. In heaven and earth, divine text is divided into 8 major attributes. The Shadow Divine Text is just one of them, and it is the opposite of the Light Divine Text. Shu Chan explained, every type of divine text has many branches. The power of my Azura Divine Text is one of the branches of the Shadow Divine Text. The divine text of each attribute branch also has different characteristics. Shadow Divine Text, Light Divine Text. Long Yu nodded. Then my power is also of the Shadow Divine Text, right? As soon as he said that, Long Yu gathered the power of the Yu character, condensed it into a beam, and directly broke through the 12th level of the Tiangang. Not bad. Shu Chan's eyes lit up when she saw that. However, although you have only comprehended 10% of the power of the divine text, it is extremely powerful. It is much more powerful than the power of my Azura divine text. There are grades of divine text too? Long Yu asked again. I have never heard of divine text being divided into grades, but the power of your divine text is indeed stronger than ordinary divine text. Shu Chan's brows furrowed slightly. She also didn't understand. This made Long Yu's heart skip a beat. He thought that there were only 3 ways for people to comprehend the power of the divine text. The first way was to go to the source of divine text. The second way was to comprehend the divine text engraved by their ancestors. The third way was like when Bei Tianyi asked people to comprehend the fighting character during the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. The power of the divine text comprehended by these 3 ways was naturally different. For example, during the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, everyone had comprehended Bei Tianyi's fight character, or Long Yu had comprehended the hide character left behind by Wang Changfeng. They had definitely only been able to comprehend the weakest divine character power. And for those who directly comprehended the divine text engraved, such as Bei Tianyi or the Azura Princess Shu Chan, the power of the divine text comprehended was naturally much stronger than the previous way. Because of this, Long Yu guessed that if he could go to the source of divine text, the power of the divine text comprehended would be even stronger. Perhaps this Yu character of mine is the same as comprehending it directly from the source of divine text? Long Yu thought for a moment and felt that this was highly possible. After all, the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds was so mysterious, and the woman who had engraved the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, Consort Yu, was even more mysterious. It was not impossible to say that the Yu character that he comprehended was directly from the source of divine text. But Long Yu did not say this to Shu Chan. After all, the mysterious woman Consort Yu, the dragon of the 9 underworlds, and the source of divine text were things that even the Azura princess did not know about. When we arrive at the Prefecture King City, I can give you an attribute stone and let you test what kind of divine text power you can comprehend the most easily. As the Princess Shu Chan spoke, she broke through several levels of the Big Dipper realm and finally brought Long Yu to the 25th level of the Big Dipper realm. Long Yu could see the yellow sand heaven city floating in the air from afar. Shu Chan, wait for me. I'll be right back. Long Yu said to the princess. There's no need to be anxious. This time, you'll be leaving with me. You won't have a chance to return anytime soon. Say goodbye to your friends. The Princess Shu Chan waved her hand. With a flash, her petite figure actually disappeared from Long Yu's sight. There's no trace or aura at all. Long Yu looked around but could not find any trace of Shu Chan. He could only shake his head helplessly and head for Yellow Sand Heaven City as fast as he could. The group of Heavenly Tribulation Realm experts in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower still thought that they were still surrounded by exotic beasts. They had no idea that Long Yu had already brought them back to Yellow Sand Heaven City. As the city lord Sha Yuantian and the 2 supreme elders had already left Yellow Sand Sky City, the entire city was heavily guarded at this moment. Stop right there. A martial cultivator guarding the gate stepped forward and stopped Long Yu. He yelled, Who are you? What are you doing in my Yellow Sand Heaven City? I'm Shan Gui, a friend of Yilun. Seeing this, Long Yu took out a ghost mask and put it on. The martial cultivator immediately reacted and said, So it's brother Shan Gui. Please come in. I'll send someone to inform young Master Yilun. Long Yu nodded and prepared to wait at the gate for a while. He couldn't just barge into the city. However, he did not see Yilun coming. Instead, he saw the brutish Gu Yan, who was covered in injuries. Gu Yan, one of the Gu brothers who followed Yilun, was considered to be extremely powerful among the Renhua realm cultivators. However, right now, Gu Yan's naked upper body was covered in wounds that were dyed with fresh blood. It was obvious that he had just been injured. "Brother Guyen, what's going on?" Long Yu's expression changed slightly. He hurried forward. "Young Master Yi is being surrounded. Hurry up and come with me to help him," Guyen said in a deep voice. He turned around impatiently and rushed into the city with Long Yu. Yi Luan was actually being besieged in his own territory. Chapter 440. Long Yu followed Guyen into the city and soon arrived at a luxurious restaurant. In the restaurant, Yi Luan, Gu Jun, and Gu Yen were ambushed by a large group of people who had been lying in ambush. After the city lord and the two great elders left, Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang seized the opportunity to deal with young Lord Yi. Gu Yen ignored the blood flowing from his body and rushed toward the restaurant with Long Yu. At the same time, he explained, "The owner of this restaurant is the woman that young Lord Yi admires." Young Lord Yi had just returned from outside when he heard that Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang were harassing her. Young Lord Yi immediately rushed over, but he didn't expect. "Is young Lord Yi all right?" Long Yu asked in a deep voice. He didn't expect the city lord and the two great elders to leave Yellow Sand Sky City to deal with the beasts outside. He didn't even know if they were dead or alive. However, under such circumstances, Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang had brazenly started an internal strife in an attempt to eliminate Yi Luan. Obviously, Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang both thought that Yi Luan had a high chance of becoming the fourth city lord, so they couldn't help but make a move. However, Long Yu felt a little strange. Zhu Tao was already very old, but as the second senior brother, he was only at the heavenly beginning stage. Qi Ziguang was even worse. He was only at the mortal glory stage. Based on their talent and hard work, even without Yi Luan, the position of city lord should not have fallen to them. If that was the case, why did they have to stand out and deal with Yi Luan? One had to know that although the city lord and the grand elder had not returned, if they were to be questioned afterwards, they would not be easily forgiven for daring to frame or even kill Yi Luan. It was even more impossible for them to become the fourth city lord. Of course, Long Yu didn't think too much about it. He only pondered for a while before putting it to the back of his mind. After all, helping Yi Luan out of trouble was the most important thing. "Anyway, I'm about to leave the heavenly mandate continent. It doesn't matter even if I show my strength. I can also test where my limits are." Long Yu's eyes flickered with a bright light. "Zhu Tao, isn't this pig a heavenly origin stage martial cultivator? I can use it to test my strength, and see if my current strength is enough to deal with a heavenly origin stage martial cultivator." "Out of the way!" Gu Yen roared in anger, instantly causing the crowd to disperse. After which, he soared into the air and entered the third floor of the restaurant. Long Yu followed closely behind. The moment he stepped in, he discovered that Yi Luan was already covered in blood. If it wasn't for Gu Jun risking his life to block for him, Yi Luan would probably have collapsed a long time ago. Gu Jun actually stepped into the mortal tribulation realm. Long Yu glanced at the scene and rejoiced. If it wasn't for the fact that Gu Jun, who used the Gu family's spear technique, had broken through to the human tribulation realm, he would have been covered in blood like Yi Luan. Surrounding Gu Jun and Yi Luan were many martial cultivators. They were all Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang's subordinate. All of them were staring at the scene with cold smiles on their faces. "Oh, you've called for a helper." Zhu Tao had a plump figure and a pair of small triangular eyes, making him look extremely wretched. He stood to the side and confidently glanced at Long Yu. "Isn't this our famous Long Yu? I never imagined that you'd be able to return alive. You even hid your identity and lied to us that you were a mountain ghost. TSK, what a joke. I'm Long Yu, but also a mountain ghost. A ghost that's here to take your life." Long Yu spoke in an indifferent tone, before he slowly walked forward and arrived beside the heavily injured Yi Luan. The well-built Gu Yen slowly walked over, seemingly unconcerned about the injuries on his body. "Brother Long, you leave now." Yi Luan could vaguely sense that Long Yu had returned and subconsciously wanted to tell him to leave. After all, Zhu Tao was a heavenly origin expert, and even he was not his match. Long Yu. At this moment 2 shouts came from the crowd outside. Then, 2 figures soared into the sky and entered the restaurant. Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng. One was at the initial human stage, while the other was at the Hua stage. The 2 of them were useless in this situation, but when they saw Long Yu, they immediately stepped forward without hesitation. Of course, Bei Yuyao couldn't just watch her son die. Not bad, not bad, there are more and more people here, but in my opinion, this is still not enough. The plump second senior brother, Zhu Tao, swept a glance at Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng, before he let out a disdainful laugh. You're all a bunch of idiots. The luxuriously dressed young man, Qi Ziguang, smiled smugly as he looked at the crowd. I purposely let Gu Yan leave to lure all of you here. I didn't expect all of you to fall for it. Not bad, let's die together. I'm so touched. I don't care if you're Long Yu or Shan Gui. You said you're here to take my life. I don't know where you got your confidence from, but you'll soon find out that blind confidence will kill you. Zhu Tao looked at Long Yu with a vicious glint in his eyes. He then waved his hand and said, "Kill them." Among the surrounding martial cultivators, there was a heavenly origin stage expert like Zhu Tao. There were also 4 human tribulation stage martial cultivators. The lineup was extremely powerful, so Yi Luan and Gu Jun were no match for them. Judging from the number of martial practitioners and their cultivation levels, Zhu Tao's side had an overwhelming advantage over Yi Luan's side. Wait. Just as the crowd was about to swarm forward, Long Yu suddenly raised his hand and narrowed his eyes at Zhu Tao. What, are you going to beg for mercy? Zhu Tao smirked. That's not difficult. I'll spare your life if you swear your loyalty to me and kill Yi Luan with your own hands. Such a chaotic battle is too unsightly. It'll be a pity even if the flowers and plants are damaged. Long Yu said calmly, if that's the case, why don't I fight you alone? As soon as he said this, everyone around him was stunned. Did they hear it wrong? Long Yu, who had just reached the human glory realm, was proposing to fight Zhu Tao, who was in the heavenly origin realm. They would laugh their heads off. You want to challenge me? Do you have the right? Zhu Tao was startled, but he soon smirked. Lei Hang, I'll leave this kid to you. Since he wants to fight me alone, you should show him who he is. As soon as he finished speaking, a human tribulation realm martial cultivator stood out from the crowd with a mocking look on his face. So you're Long Yu? I heard that you almost crippled Chuchenka in the last competition. That's my friend, Lei Hang. The muscular martial cultivator stood out and stared at Long Yu coldly. You were able to participate in the competition of the human glory realm when you were only in the human origin realm, and you even won the championship. However, that was just an accident. Soon, you'll know the difference between the human glory realm and the human tribulation realm. Without saying a single word, Long Yu turned around and walked out of the restaurant. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw that on the 3rd floor of the restaurant, behind where Zhu Tao was standing, there was a beautiful woman quietly observing the situation. That woman must be the owner of this restaurant, the woman that Yi Luan admires, right? However, from the corner of his eye, Long Yu did not see any concern or worry on the beautiful woman's face, which made Long Yu slightly confused. Logically speaking, this woman had been harassed by Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang, and Yi Luan had come to her rescue but ended up trapped. Shouldn't she be worried for Yi Luan? Something's wrong. Long Yu became cautious. He turned around and looked at the human tribulation realm martial cultivator, Lei Hang. Lei Hang was one of Zhu Tao's 4 human tribulation realm martial cultivators. He had mastered the power of the heavenly tablet of lightning and was extremely powerful. He was only one step away from breaking through the bottleneck and entering the heavenly realm. As Lei Hang flew out of the restaurant and confronted Long Yu in the air, many people became nervous. Among them, Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng were the most worried. Gu Jun and Gu Yen were naturally on Long Yu's side as well. There were also many onlookers who had a good impression of Yi Luan. They were currently pointing at the restaurant, expressing their dissatisfaction with Zhu Tao and the others. However, Zhu Tao was too powerful. Most of the residents in Yellow Sand City had not even reached the heavenly realm, so they naturally had no right to speak. They could only whisper to each other. I, Lei Hang, will avenge brother Chu Chenka. Lei Hang looked at Long Yu as a layer of dazzling lightning flashed on his body. To be honest, I've already forgotten who Chu Chenka is. Long Yu said calmly, also, I won't remember your name. Brat, you're very arrogant, but I don't know why you're so arrogant. Just because you're a human glory realm cultivator? Lei Hang laughed. His eyes were filled with disdain. Take this, brat. As soon as he finished speaking, Lei Hang seemed to be surrounded by a layer of lightning. He turned into a lightning tornado and appeared in front of Long Yu in an instant. Lei Hang was extremely fast. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Most of the onlookers could not react in time. None of you have left Sand City to participate in the battle against the exotic beasts, have you? Under such circumstances, Long Yu's voice was suddenly heard. Just as everyone was feeling surprised and puzzled, Lei Hang's miserable cry rang out, followed by the sound of a strong lightning body crashing into the street not far away. You have no idea what kind of dangerous situation the City Lord, the Grand Elder, and the other heavenly tribulation experts are facing, but you are still rebelling in your own homes. You really make me laugh my head off. Long Yu's voice grew colder and colder, following which, his body descended and heavily stomped on Lei Hang's body, which was enveloped by lightning. The lightning around Lei Hang's body was instantly extinguished. Lei Hang coughed and spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 441. When Long Yu was at the human initial stage, he was able to participate in the Sand City competition and fight against the two brothers, Gu Jun and Gu Yen, who were the strongest in the human initial stage. Not only had he entered the human initial stage, but he had also grown a lot in the process of fighting against the beasts. Therefore, he only needed one move to defeat Lei Hang, who was in the human tribulation realm. Under normal circumstances, the difference in strength between a human initial stage and a human tribulation realm cultivator was several times greater. It was impossible for a cultivator to defeat an opponent of a higher level. However, Long Yu had comprehended the Nine Serenities law. He had directly used the Nine Serenities law to completely defeat Lei Hang, and the Nine Serenities chi had corroded his body. Amazing! The surrounding crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. Just like in the Sand City Grand Competition, Long Yu had once again defeated Lei Hang, who was one level higher than him in the martial Dao realm. Furthermore, he had defeated him in a single move. What's going on? Second senior brother Zhu Tao, who was standing on the balcony of the restaurant and looking at the situation outside, had a gloating expression on his face immediately. Zhu Tao knew Lei Hang's strength very well. In the Sand City competition not long ago, Lei Hang had made it to the top 8 in the human tribulation realm group. How was it possible that he couldn't even defeat a guy in the human initial stage with one move? Could it be that Long Yu was really capable? Qi Ziguang, who was standing next to him, widened his eyes. He couldn't believe that Long Yu could defeat Lei Hang with one move. Qi Ziguang was still in the human initial stage. He hadn't entered the human tribulation realm yet. In the past, he had lost to Long Yu, who was in the human initial stage. Now that Long Yu had entered the human initial stage, Qi Ziguang was even less of a match for Long Yu. Qi Ziguang didn't even have the courage to fight against Long Yu. He was surrounded by Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang's men in the restaurant. He was seriously injured and couldn't see the battle. Gu Jun, who was protecting him, said happily, "Young Master Yi, Brother Long defeated Lei Hang. I knew he wouldn't be afraid of someone in the human tribulation stage. However, Zhu Tao is at the heavenly origin stage. Not only is he 2 stages higher than him, the gap between the heavenly stage and the human stage is also like heaven and earth. However, Yi Luan was not optimistic. In fact, Yi Luan was not surprised that Long Yu had defeated Lei Hang. He was worried that Zhu Tao or his heavenly origin stage follower would personally make a move. The heavenly beginning stage was much more powerful than the human glory stage. Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng also stood guard by Yi Luan's side. The two of them heaved a sigh of relief as they observed the battle outside. However, when they heard Yi Luan's words, they tensed up again. Indeed, Long Yu had defeated Lei Hang, who was in the human tribulation realm. Although it was surprising, it didn't mean that they were out of danger. If the heavenly origin stage Zhu Tao or his lackey made a move, would Long Yu be able to withstand them? Liang Hua, there's no time to lose. Let's do it. Zhu Tao's face darkened as he spoke to his heavenly origin stage follower, Liang Hua. Yes, young master. A skinny young man stepped forward with a frivolous smile on his face. The skinny young man was called Liang Hua, the only heavenly origin stage follower under Zhu Tao. The hearts of everyone in the surroundings instantly tensed up when they saw him step forward. Be careful, Long Yu. Bei Yuyao couldn't help but shout out. She and Dou Zicheng had followed Yi Luan to Yellows and Sky City. They thought they had temporarily avoided danger, but they didn't expect to face Zhu Tao's threat right after avoiding the powerful beasts. Fortunately, Long Yu had returned in time to save Yi Luan's life. However, even Long Yu wouldn't be a match for the heavenly origin stage Liang Hua, right? Bei Yuyao thought to herself. If Long Yu couldn't beat Liang Hua, she would definitely help him even if it meant risking her life. Long Yu raised his head and immediately saw the skinny young man, Liang Hua, as well as the worried look in his mother's eyes. Why are you worried about me? Long Yu smiled and waved his hand. Mother, have you forgotten that I won't lose my life no matter what? Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng's hearts skipped a beat when they heard this. They exchanged glances and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. That's right, Long Yu had control over the Dragon Bone Tower. Even if he encountered an extremely dangerous situation, he could just summon the tower and hide inside it. Although the space on each floor of the Yellows and Sky City wasn't big enough to store the Dragon Bone Tower, it shouldn't be difficult for it to pierce through the Yellows and Sky City given the quality of the tower. So this kid is just testing his strength. Bei Yuyao, Dou Zicheng, and the others who knew about this all understood in their hearts. As for those who didn't know about the Dragon Bone Tower, such as Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang, they hadn't left the Yellows and Sky City to fight against the exotic beast. It was only natural that they wouldn't know about Long Yu's life-saving means. Won't lose your life? The lean youth, Liang Hua, stood out with a cynical smile on his face. He played with a silver dagger in his hand and said lightly, You're quite confident. However, in front of me, Liang Hua, a mere mortal Hua realm cultivator dares to boast like this. It's really laughable. As he spoke, the skinny young man, Liang Hua, suddenly moved and completely disappeared from where he was. Not even a shadow was left behind. This guy's speed was much faster than Long Yu had expected. You're so fast, and you're using a dagger. That means you're good at sneak attacks. Unfortunately, you're still too inexperienced when it comes to sneak attacks against me, Long Yu. Long Yu reacted immediately. The 9 serenities law condensed into the heavenly mandate divine light and bloomed directly behind him. 9 serenities law, heavenly mandate divine light, explosion of light. Long Yu yelled, and a burst of heavenly mandate divine light suddenly burst out. Liang Hua, who was about to sneak attack behind Long Yu, was immediately blocked by the explosion of light. He was even blasted back several feet, looking extremely embarrassed. As an expert in the heavenly beginning realm, the skinny young man, Liang Hua, would not be killed by Long Yu in one move. But now, he had taken Long Yu by surprise and couldn't even touch the corner of Long Yu's clothes. This undoubtedly made him feel ashamed. You have good instincts, but unfortunately, it's all in vain. The cynical smile on Liang Hua's face began to fade. At first, he thought it would be easy to deal with Long Yu, and he might be able to kill him with one move. But now he found that Long Yu was much more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. Even though he was an expert in the heavenly beginning realm, it seemed that if he wanted to take Long Yu's life, it was really not something that could be done with one or two moves. You can continue to try, Long Yu said indifferently as he turned around. His eyes carried a faint look of ridicule as he looked at Liang Hua. That move you just used, was it the signature skill of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute, the Heavenly Mandate Divine Light? Liang Hua was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he said with confidence, "You actually know the Heavenly Mandate Divine Light, and it seems that you did not learn it in a short time. You have been learning it for a long time, haven't you?" "So what?" Long Yu smiled lightly. Anyway, he was going to leave the Heavenly Mandate continent. Even if he exposed all his strength, it didn't matter to him. The key was to find out what his real strength could reach. "You are a spy." Liang Hua narrowed his eyes. "Last time, Yi Luan brought you back. This time, Yi Luan brought your mother and the guy from the Nine Heaven Star Palace back. He deliberately brought a spy into our Yellow Sand Heaven City." As soon as this was said, many onlookers suddenly began to talk. Most people in Yellow Sand Heaven City were very united. Now, when they heard that Long Yu turned out to be a spy and that young Master Yi Luan had also brought a spy back, they couldn't help but be a little shocked. "Are you building momentum for Zhu Tao to succeed as the fourth city lord, so as to suppress Yi Luan?" Long Yu didn't care and asked directly, "Do you think that even without Yi Luan, a guy like Zhu Tao is qualified to be the fourth city lord?" Liang Hua heard this and did not refute, but changed the topic. "Since you are a spy, I have no pressure to deal with you, Tyrannosaurus of Sand." Liang Hua shouted and condensed all the qi in his body into a Tyrannosaurus of Sand. Liang Hua had already comprehended this move to the peak level. This was much stronger than the move that Long Yu learned. But Long Yu naturally wouldn't use the Tyrannosaurus of Sand to clash head-on with this guy. Now that Long Yu had fused with a wisp of 9 underworld's dragon's primordial consciousness, his strength increased greatly. The Tyrannosaurus of Sand was just a dispensable means to him. Liang Hua condensed the Tyrannosaurus of Sand and charged towards Long Yu with a loud roar. His body flashed and disappeared from mid-air once again. Using the Tyrannosaurus of Sand as a cover, waiting for an opportunity to launch a sneak attack? Long Yu narrowed his eyes. With a thought, he directly displayed the 10% of the hidden divine rune's power that he had comprehended. In an instant, just like Liang Hua, he completely disappeared from the air. Although he didn't know what movement technique Liang Hua cultivated, no matter what kind of movement technique it was, it couldn't possibly compare to the concealment effect of the hidden divine rune. Long Yu's disappearance was even more thorough than Liang Hua's disappearance. Even if it was only 10% of the hidden divine rune, when displayed, it wasn't something that martial cultivators at Liang Hua's level could discover. Of course, this wasn't just related to one's realm, but also to one's perceptual acuity. Clearly, although this lean youth, Liang Hua, was agile and extremely fast, his perceptual acuity wasn't very good. When Long Yu disappeared in midair, Liang Hua immediately couldn't figure out where Long Yu was. A Tyrannosaurus of Sand that Liang Hua condensed lost its target and stopped moving in midair in a daze. However, in the next moment, a black shadow suddenly appeared on top of that Tyrannosaurus of Sand's head. "Void Underworld Dragonblade, let's see how powerful you are first." Wielding the Void Underworld Dragonblade, Long Yu silently arrived above the Tyrannosaurus of Sand's head using the hidden divine rune. Then, he stabbed the Void Underworld Dragonblade towards the Tyrannosaurus of Sand's head. When it came to assassination techniques, who was better than Long Yu? No one was prepared for Long Yu's move. All they saw was a flash of black light, and the Tyrannosaurus of Sand's entire body was corroded by the netherworld aura. In the next moment, its entire body exploded and turned into dust. The Tyrannosaurus of Sand was the strongest martial technique that Yellow Sand Sky City's martial cultivators had comprehended. Chapter 442. Even Long Yu himself was a little surprised by the power of the Nether Dragon Blade. One must know that the Tyrannosaurus of Sand in front of him was condensed by a heavenly origin stage expert, and Liang Hua had already cultivated the Tyrannosaurus of Sand to the peak realm. The Nether Dragon Blade is undoubtedly an ancient weapon more powerful than a desolate-level weapon. The materials used, as well as the consciousness of the Dragon of 9 underworlds integrated into it, don't belong to this world at all. Long Yu thought to himself, if he could learn some powerful martial skills using short blades, how powerful would the Nether Dragon Blade be when it was used? Moreover, the Nether Dragon Blade seemed to have a strong compatibility with the laws of 9 underworlds and the divine character Yu. In other words, the laws of 9 underworlds and the divine character Yu released through the Nether Dragon Blade would be enhanced to a certain extent. What? When the Tyrannosaurus of Sand was defeated by Long Yu in one move and turned into powder, the lean young man Liang Hua, who had disappeared in the air at an extremely fast speed, could not help but cry out in surprise. He had never imagined that the Tyrannosaurus of Sand he had condensed would be defeated by the kid in front of him in one move. That was not what made Liang Hua collapse. What he could not accept the most was that the assassination skills he relied on to survive seemed to be useless in front of Long Yu. Not only did they not work, but Long Yu even had assassination skills that were more practical than his. He did not even notice where Long Yu had gone, and in the next moment, the Tyrannosaurus of Sand he had condensed had already been defeated by Long Yu. This is the divine character hidden, which is said to have been obtained by the previous lord of the Thundercloud Fortress. In the restaurant, the fat second senior brother Zhu Tao frowned slightly. Being able to learn the divine character hidden means that you must be related to the people of the Thundercloud Fortress. It seems that you are indeed a spy who came to our Yellow Sand Heaven City. So this is the power of the divine character. The lean youth, Liang Hua, nodded. His face revealed a bloodthirsty and mocking expression. But if you only know how to dodge, you don't have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of me, Liang Hua. As soon as he finished speaking, Liang Hua raised his hand and the dagger in his hand swayed. With a flash of silver light, the dagger split into 3 afterimages, heading straight for Long Yu, Bei Yuyao, and Yi Luan. It was impossible to tell if any of the 3 afterimages were real or fake. Long Yu's expression changed slightly when he saw this. Yellow Sand Afterimage. Liang Hua has mastered this move and can actually split into 3 afterimages. Including his own body, there are 4. Each afterimage is enough to pass off as the real one. No one can tell which one is real and which one is fake. Qi Ziguang and Zhu Tao watched from the side, both feeling pleased with themselves. They knew that today's battle would end here. Although Long Yu had shocked them, this Yellow Sand afterimage was Liang Hua's most powerful martial skill. He had already stepped into the realm of transcendence. In the past, when Liang Hua used this martial skill, no one in the same realm of martial arts could block it, and no one could hurt his body. This showed how powerful it was. The 3 silhouettes of Liang Hua swept towards Long Yu, Bei Yuyao, and Yi Luan respectively. Of course, with the addition of Liang Hua, who was standing motionlessly in midair, no one could tell which was the real body. Long Yu wanted to find out which one was the real one through the killing intent, but he found that these 4 identical Liang Hua afterimages all exuded an extremely strong killing intent. Shadow of the Dragon Sparrow. When Long Yu saw the afterimages fly out, he immediately reacted. The shadow of a black dragon sparrow appeared behind him and immediately merged with Long Yu's body. Immediately after, Long Yu turned into a black streak of light and flew toward the afterimage of Liang Hua that was charging toward Bei Yuyao at the fastest speed. Nether Void Dragon Blade, kill! Long Yu held the Nether Void Dragon Blade in his hand, and a wave of netherworld chi shot out, piercing through Liang Hua's afterimage as he rapidly moved forward. The afterimage shattered with a loud bang. It was obviously not the real one. However, with this delay, the other Liang Hua's afterimage was already about to reach Yilun. Yilun was currently in a seriously injured state, and although Gu Jun and Gu Yen weren't injured, it was impossible for them to withstand the attack of a heavenly origin expert's afterimage. Spirit Binding Lock, go! At this critical moment, Long Yu threw out a small fragment of the Spirit Binding Lock from afar, trapping Liang Hua's afterimage in an instant, making it impossible for him to advance any further. One had to know that the Spirit Binding Lock was a part of a heaven-level soldier that even Wang Changfeng, a heavenly tribulation expert, had been trapped in the bone-concealing abyss for more than 10 years. To the martial practitioners of the heavenly mandate continent, a heaven-level soldier was something that only existed in legends. In the end, Liang Hua's afterimage and his real body, seeing that Long Yu was moving so quickly, immediately split into two directions and launched a pincer attack toward Long Yu's current position. Come! Nether Dragon 9 explosions. The first explosion gained the upper hand. Just as Long Yu was facing the pincer attack of the afterimages, he calmly raised his hand and immediately condensed the netherworld chi, exploding it with a loud bang. The Nether Dragon 9 explosions was a great desolation-level martial technique. Originally, Long Yu would have considerable repercussions when using it. But now, after he had fused with the primordial consciousness that originally belonged to the dragon of the netherworld, there would no longer be any repercussions when using this technique. When a dragon roar resounded through the sky, one of Liang Hua's afterimages was directly smashed into pieces by the Nether Dragon 9 explosions that exploded out of nowhere. The three afterimages of the lean young man, Liang Hua, were all as powerful as his real body and extremely difficult to deal with. No one had expected that Long Yu would actually kill one of them with a short blade in an instant. Then, the mysterious soldier trapped one of them, and in the end, used a terrifying martial technique and directly smashed one of them into pieces. The lean young man, Liang Hua's real body, couldn't help but take a few steps back when he saw this situation. He couldn't help but reveal an indescribable expression on his face. Nether Dragon 9 explosions. The second explosion, illusory dragon roar. But Long Yu's attack still wasn't over. He roared, and 7 consecutive dragon roars reverberated throughout the battlefield. After the deafening explosions, the crowd discovered that the yellow sand afterimage that had attacked Yiluan had been trapped by Long Yu's chain warrior, and had dissipated just like that. Put it away. With a command in his heart, Long Yu withdrew the spirit restricting lock. This thing couldn't be obtained through proper means. If Yu Qingsha were to notice something, then it would be bad for her. The 3 yellow sand afterimages were all destroyed by Long Yu, but Long Yu didn't relax at all. Nether Dragon 9 explosions. The third explosion, Soul Shock explosion. Long Yu raised his head and glanced at the lean young man, Liang Hua, who was floating in front of him. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and then with a thought, the netherworld aura suddenly exploded and instantly enveloped Liang Hua's entire body. It completely surrounded his escape route, and he couldn't run even if he wanted to. The lean young man, Liang Hua, only heard a dragon roar, and then his entire soul was completely shocked, and he instantly froze on the spot. Heavenly Mandate Divine Light, the law of the netherworld, light explosion. Long Yu then raised his hand and condensed a beam of Heavenly Mandate Divine Light, which shot out and shot through Liang Hua's chest. This series of means dazzled the surrounding people. When they came to their senses, Liang Hua's afterimages and his original body had all been destroyed by Long Yu. How is this possible? The luxuriously dressed young man, Qi Ziguang's expression changed greatly. The situation in front of him was very different from what he had expected. Little Seven, don't worry. The fat second brother, Zhu Tao, immediately narrowed his eyes and said, Don't forget, Liang Hua's yellow sand afterimages have been comprehended to the transcendent realm. Yes, how could I forget? Hearing this, Qi Ziguang suddenly patted his head, and the worry on his face turned to joy. The yellow sand afterimages of the transcendent realm are not so easy to break. As if to confirm what the two said, all the afterimages of Liang Hua that had been destroyed by Long Yu, including his original body, condensed into strands of yellow sand silk threads, entangling Long Yu. Long Yu frowned slightly. He was keenly aware that he had not killed the real Liang Hua. Instead, because he had defeated those afterimages, he had caused some trouble. These yellow sand afterimages, after being defeated, could actually turn into yellow sand silk threads, entangling the opponent. All 4 of them are afterimages. I was negligent. A light flashed in Long Yu's eyes, but he did not care too much. Following a flash of inspiration in his mind, he directly punched into the void. 9 nether dragon explosions. 4th explosion, dragon roar dark sky snow. With this punch, the law of the 9 nether suddenly spread rapidly around, turning into black snowflakes, decorating the whole world into a dark world. At the same time, in this space, there was a constant dragon roar, making it impossible for the opponent in this space to hide, and his strength was suppressed by at least 50%. A thin figure of a young man gradually appeared in front of Long Yu. Moreover, his actions and speed were much slower than before, completely different from how he was at the beginning. As the dragon roars reached the ears of the thin young man, Liang Hua, his strength was being suppressed more and more. Liang Hua couldn't take it anymore. The feeling of the power in his body being suppressed by an external force made him very unhappy. He immediately roared and swung the silver dagger in his hand. Immediately, several blades of silver light shot towards Long Yu. Reincarnation barrier. With a thought, Long Yu directly condensed the reincarnation barrier and immediately reflected the silver blades. At the same time, the drunken underworld and the awakening palm of samsara were launched. The invisible spirit of the underworld appeared along with the path of the underworld. Under the several layers of suppression, Liang Hua immediately lost the ability to resist. The silver blade light that bounced back left several wounds of varying depths on Liang Huachuan's body, and blood flowed out bit by bit. The dragon roars continued, and Liang Hua's strength was being suppressed even more. Chapter 443. Following Liang Hua's mad and desperate roar, Zhu Tao, who was watching from the side, changed his expression. Although he could feel that Long Yu's series of moves were very powerful, he wasn't enveloped by it, so he couldn't feel it too deeply. He thought that Liang Hua would definitely be able to deal with Long Yu, who was only in the human Hua realm. He didn't think that Liang Hua would actually roar and ask for help. What a piece of trash! Zhu Tao snorted coldly. His fat body suddenly jumped out of the restaurant. Although he was fat, his speed in the air wasn't slow at all. In just an instant, he was already within 100 feet of Long Yu, entering the range of the 4th explosion of the Nether Dragon's 9 explosions, Dragon Roar Dark Sky Snow. Immediately, waves of dragon roars entered Zhu Tao's ears, shocking him for a while. What kind of martial skill is this? How can it be so powerful? Zhu Tao's heart jumped. No wonder Liang Hua asked for help. This Long Yu actually comprehended such a terrifying martial skill. No wonder, no wonder. At the same time that he was shocked, Zhu Tao also began to think. If he could learn such a powerful martial skill, wouldn't it be even more powerful than the tyrannical sand dragon and yellow sand shadow? If that was the case, he might really be able to try and fight for the position of the 4th Sand City Lord. Just as Zhu Tao was thinking about this, Long Yu punched Liang Hua's face, condensing the endless power of the laws of the underworld. The laws of the underworld were the strongest laws that surpassed the laws of the Heaven Crystal Realm. Even though Long Yu's martial arts realm was 2 levels lower than Liang Hua's, when Liang Hua was being suppressed in all kinds of ways, Long Yu's punch directly took half of Liang Hua's life. The punch sent Liang Hua flying, and he fell heavily on the street below. Liang Hua, who fell on the ground, spat out blood. His entire body was greenish-black. The aura of the underworld had already corroded his entire body. If he wasn't treated in time, he probably wouldn't live. Even if someone wanted to save him now, they would at least need to take out an Earth-level healing pill. A healing pill below the Earth level wouldn't be of any use at all. "You've finally made a move." Long Yu turned his head and looked at Zhu Tao mockingly, playing with the silver dagger he snatched from Liang Hua's hand. This was a top-grade dark-level weapon. Even though Long Yu did not think much of it, in the Heavenly Mandate continent, it was still considered a decent quality weapon. At the very least, if Long Yu brought it to the Great Tang Empire, it would be enough to become a national treasure of the Great Tang Empire. "You are so vicious to injure Liang Hua, your crime cannot be redeemed." The fat second senior brother Zhu Tao's power was gradually suppressed by the dragon roars. However, his face was gloomy, and as he spoke, he released the yellow sky sand flying force that he had comprehended. Yellow sky flying sand was a heaven crystal law. Zhu Tao had already comprehended the power of the world. Although he was not as good as Yi Luan, compared to the skinny young man, Liang Hua, he was much stronger. The yellow sky sand flying force suddenly burst out, and it immediately counteracted a part of the suppression from Long Yu's dark sky snow. After all, there were 2 levels of difference between them. Even if Long Yu performed a great desolate level martial skill like the Dark Dragon 9 explosion, he still couldn't completely suppress Zhu Tao. "You killed your fellow disciples, you are even more vicious than me. You deserve to die." Long Yu retorted sarcastically, and he didn't seem to be at a disadvantage in terms of momentum. This fat second senior brother Zhu Tao was also one of the 9 disciples of Sha Yuantian, but he killed his fellow disciples, framed Yi Luan, and wanted to kill Yi Luan. Wasn't this more vicious than Long Yu? Long Yu was only trying to protect his brothers and friends, and he was forced to attack. Unlike this fat second senior brother Zhu Tao, who attacked for the position of the 4th City Lord of Yellow Sand Heaven City. "Shut up, you're just a spy who sneaked into our Yellow Sand Heaven City. What qualifications do you have to criticize us?" Zhu Tao snorted coldly. "I'm guessing that even junior brother Yi Luan has been bewitched by your group and has become your puppet. If Yi Luan really becomes the 4th City Lord, won't the entire Yellow Sand Heaven City be destroyed in your hands? If you want to fight, then let's fight. Cut the crap." Long Yu activated the profound qi in his body, and his eyes flashed. Suddenly, a burst of underworld qi burst out and spread out, forming a yellow spring realm. The drunken yellow spring realm, which he had comprehended to the transformation realm, could create a yellow spring realm and make Long Yu lie drunk in the yellow spring. As for the other opponents in this area, their cultivation would be greatly suppressed. Even Zhu Tao, who was at the heavenly origin stage, was no exception. Double suppression? Zhu Tao's expression changed slightly. He could feel that in this space, he was facing Long Yu's double suppression. First, a dragon's roar could be heard, making Zhu Tao uneasy. Then, the yellow spring realm spread out, causing his strength to drop by about 10%. If it was a martial cultivator of the same level, in the yellow spring realm, their strength would be suppressed by at least half. But Zhu Tao was a heavenly origin realm expert, and his basic strength was extremely tyrannical, even more than 10 times stronger than Long Yu, so his strength was only suppressed by 10%. Coupled with the Dragon Roar Dark Snow Realm's continuous suppression, Zhu Tao's overall combat strength was only reduced by less than 30%. With his basic strength, he still had an absolute advantage over Long Yu. Yellow Sand Heaven Storm, momentum, break for me. A sinister smile appeared on Zhu Tao's face, and the yellow sand heaven storm's power of heaven and earth rumbled out. The power of the yellow sand clashed with Long Yu's dragon roar dark snow realm and yellow spring realm. Suddenly, a strong airflow erupted and spread out. Let me show you the Tyrannosaurus of sand in the complete realm. Go, sand dragon breath. Zhu Tao shouted, and suddenly a Tyrannosaurus of sand formed. With a swing of its head, it spewed a large torrent of yellow sand in the direction of Long Yu. This torrent of yellow sand carried the power of the yellow sand heaven storm. If it hit Long Yu head-on, even if his body had been tempered by sky thunder, he would definitely be in trouble. After all, Zhu Tao's martial arts realm was more than 2 levels higher than his. Not to mention that martial cultivators of the human realm and heavenly realm could borrow the power of the laws of heaven and earth, so there was a huge difference between them. Any human tribulation stage cultivator who stepped into the heavenly origin stage would be able to exert 10 times the power of the laws of heaven and earth, or even more. This was because the heavenly origin stage was a stage where one was in complete harmony with heaven and earth, so one could naturally borrow more power of heaven and earth. Heavenly mandate divine light, 4 color laws, light curtain. Seeing this, Long Yu did not panic. Instead, he was calm. He raised his hand and condensed a beam of heavenly mandate divine light. This beam of heavenly mandate divine light contained 4 colors, and in an instant, it spread into a defensive light curtain. The pitch-black law of the 9 serenities, the eerie white law of the Tying, the fiery red law of the scorching sun, and the deep purple law of the thunderbolt. The 4 color laws were perfectly integrated by Long Yu, and together they formed the defensive light curtain of the heavenly mandate divine light. Zhu Tao's torrent of yellow sand suddenly rolled on the 4 color light curtain, and suddenly a shocking roar broke out. Then, as expected, it was blocked by the 4 color light curtain. The yellow sand scattered in all directions, but in the end, it could not break through the defensive light curtain of the heavenly mandate divine light that Long Yu had condensed. He has been comprehending the heavenly mandate divine light for a year, and it has been very effective. At this moment, in the restaurant, Dou Zicheng was already standing next to Bei Yuyao, watching the show in a very relaxed manner. When they thought that Long Yu could control the Dragon Bone Ancient Tower, it was impossible for him to die here, and they felt much more relaxed, especially when they saw that Long Yu had really defeated the lean young man, Liang Hua, in the heavenly beginning realm. They felt even more relaxed. Next, all they had to do was to watch the show. Not bad, especially to integrate the power of the 4 laws of heaven and earth. It is very difficult, Bei Yuyao said with a smile. You should know that there is a big difference between the power of each law of heaven and earth. If it is not handled well, the power of the laws will repel each other. Not to mention using it against the enemy, it is very easy to be seriously injured just by practicing it. This kid's talent is probably even better than his father's. Dou Zicheng could not help but sigh, but when he saw the look in Bei Yuyao's eyes dim, he immediately cursed himself for saying the wrong thing. Did this not remind Bei Yuyao of Long Zitian? He was really asking for trouble in the field. Long Yu blocked Zhu Tao's yellow sand torrent, but more yellow sand torrents sprayed out from the mouth of the Tyrannosaurus of sand, constantly bombarding the light curtain of the heavenly mandate divine light condensed by the 4 color laws of Long Yu. Divine text with the hidden character. The corner of Long Yu's mouth curled up, and he immediately released the power of the divine text with the hidden character. His figure suddenly disappeared from the field. At the same time, the double suppression of the underworld realm and the dragon roar dark sky snow suddenly disappeared without a trace, and the 4 color law light curtain was directly shattered because it was no longer supported by Long Yu's power. Where did he go? The fat second senior brother, Zhu Tao, hovered in the air, squinted and carefully observed the surrounding sky, but no matter how hard he tried, he could not find Long Yu's figure. The mighty and majestic Tyrannosaurus of sand was hovering above Zhu Tao's head, hovering in the air. It was not angry, but it was intimidating. The other onlookers, the brothers Gu Yan and Gu Jun, Bei Yuyao, Dou Zicheng, and the others all swept their eyes across the sky outside the restaurant, but they could not find any trace of Long Yu. Did this kid run away? Zhu Tao's face did not look so good. If he let Long Yu run away, how could he explain Lei Heng's death, and how could he face the seriously injured Liang Hua? However, at the next moment, Long Yu's voice came from the restaurant. "What are you doing?" Brother Yi Luan did not hesitate to fall out with the senior brothers for you, and this is how you treat Brother Yi Luan? Long Yu kicked open a door on the third floor of the restaurant and found the owner of the restaurant, who was also the woman that Yi Luan admired. At this moment, the beautiful woman was in the room, talking to a man in a black cloak. As for the black-cloaked man, he placed something that looked like a healing pill into her hand and asked her to give it to Yi Luan. No one expected Long Yu to be able to notice the situation in the restaurant while he was fighting with Zhu Tao. Chapter 444. The beautiful woman who opened the restaurant had just reached out to take the elixir from the black-robed man's hand when the door was kicked open by Long Yu. The beautiful woman was shocked. "No, listen to me. This is a healing elixir. I want to save young Master Yi," so Yi Luan, who was seriously injured, could not help but be surprised when he saw this sudden scene. "Xiao Yu, who is this person? Why is he wearing a black robe in our yellow sand heaven city and not daring to show his face?" Yi Luan looked at the mysterious man in a black robe with a cold look in his eyes. He's a pill master, a guest of the restaurant that I invited." Xiao Yu, the beautiful woman that Yi Luan was in love with, quickly said in a panic. "If that's the case, why are you so nervous?" The corner of Long Yu's lips curled slightly. "Why don't you give me the elixir? I happen to be a pill master too. If it's really a healing elixir, let Brother Yi take it." The beautiful woman, Xiao Yu, could not make up her mind when she heard Long Yu's words. She subconsciously turned to look at the mysterious man. The mysterious man in a black robe finally stood up at this moment. "You're very bold to dare to get involved in this matter. However, with your strength, you can't stop everything from happening." The mysterious man's voice was a little cold and extremely unfamiliar. Yi Luan and the others had never heard this person's voice before. It seemed that he had come from outside Yellow Sand Heaven City. Could it be, as Xiao Yu said, that he was a guest of the restaurant? Of course, no matter what, the mysterious man's words were already filled with strong hostility. This hostility was directed at Long Yu and Yi Luan. The elixir that the man gave Xiao Yu was definitely not a healing elixir. Instead, it was likely to be poison. If Yi Luan took it, nothing good would happen. Long Yu suspected this, so he took the opportunity to come over and expose the scene. "Who are you? Why did you come to my Yellow Sand Heaven City?" Yi Luan struggled to speak and asked sternly. "I'm just a small alchemist." The mysterious man's lips curled up as he removed the hood of his black cloak. A familiar face appeared before everyone's eyes. Che Jianzi. Upon seeing this, Long Yu frowned slightly. The person in front of him really looked like the golden-robed Thundercloud Fortress alchemist, Che Jianzi. However, Che Jianzi was already old and was killed by Long Yu in the Tang Empire. "You've seen my father?" When the mysterious man heard Long Yu's murmur, he immediately became interested. "Could it be that he died in your hands? So you are Che Jianzi's son, a member of the Thundercloud Fortress." Long Yu smiled faintly. He finally figured out this guy's identity. "That's right. I am Che Yunlong, the chief alchemist of Thundercloud Fortress." The middle-aged man in a black robe proudly puffed out his chest. An alchemist was an existence that ordinary martial cultivators couldn't look up to. Even martial cultivators with higher martial Dao realms had to treat them with respect. In the Thundercloud Fortress, Che Yunlong was even treated with respect by the fort master, Raven Du Sun. What is someone from the Thundercloud Fortress doing in our Yellow Sand Heaven City? Yi Luan's face suddenly sank. He looked at the woman in the restaurant and asked, Xiao Yu, how do you know him? The beautiful woman, Xiao Yu, was a little flustered and didn't know how to explain. You don't have to ask her. Under the black robe, the corners of Che Yunlong's mouth curled up slightly. He smiled faintly and said, She has always been my woman. To be honest, I'm a little reluctant to let her come out to seduce you. Haha. What? Yi Luan was stunned on the spot as if he was struck by lightning. Xiao Yu, whom he had admired for a long time, was from the Thundercloud Fortress? Moreover, she was the woman of the chief alchemist of Thundercloud Fortress, Che Yunlong. Letting your own woman come out to seduce other men, you're really something. Long Yu noticed Yi Luan's expression and knew that this guy must have been hit hard. However, now was not the time for Long Yu to comfort him. In order to get what you want, of course, you have to make a certain sacrifice. As long as what you get is worthy of the sacrifice, there's no problem. The black-robed man, Che Yunlong, was good-looking, but the words he said made people's hair stand on end. Okay, I have to go now. I don't want to get involved in the affairs of your Yellow Sand Heaven City. You're just at the human tribulation realm. Do you think you can leave? Long Yu sneered. Then you'll have to ask your good brother. Che Yunlong glanced at Yi Luan and said with a playful smile, Brother Yi Luan, I'm going to leave with my woman now. If you don't want Xiao Yu to die in my hands, then come and chase me. Ha! After saying this, Che Yunlong directly held the beautiful woman and Xiao Yu in one hand and flew into the air, wanting to leave this place. Yi Luan's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. Although he now knew the truth, that the woman he loved, Xiao Yu, had been sent by someone else to seduce him, he still couldn't bear to watch Xiao Yu die. He didn't let Gu Jun stop Che Yunlong. He just watched as he flew to the window of the restaurant and was about to leave. Although I don't know the relationship between you and the mastermind behind this, or what kind of agreement you've reached, since you're already here, don't be in a hurry to leave. Long Yu's voice could be heard all of a sudden. Following this, his black figure appeared in front of Che Yunlong, with a grin on his face. Zhu Tao, since you don't dare to kill Yi Luan, you decided to cooperate with the people of the Thundercloud Fortress. What a great plan! Now, Long Yu had a rough idea of the truth. Zhu Tao had wanted to deal with Yi Luan, but in order to prevent others from gossiping about him, he had cooperated with Che Yunlong and asked Che Yunlong to send Xiao Yu to get close to Yi Luan. Now that the situation had reached a critical juncture, it was time for Xiao Yu to make a move and feed the poison to Yi Luan. Everything would be settled. When Xiao Yu left with Che Yunlong and returned to Thundercloud Fortress, what could Yellow Sand Sky City do to them? Meanwhile, Zhu Tao would be cleared of the suspicion of murdering his junior brother. Now, due to the appearance of Long Yu, their plan had failed. However, it seemed like Che Yunlong didn't want to meddle in other people's business, so he used Xiao Yu as a hostage in an attempt to leave. Nonsense, I don't even know this guy. The fat second senior brother Zhu Tao spat when he saw Che Yunlong. No matter how much I want Yi Luan dead, I won't cooperate with an outsider. Is that so? Then why aren't you arresting him? Long Yu smirked coldly. You're my opponent now. Zhu Tao looked at Long Yu and said coldly, Since Che Yunlong is the chief alchemist of Thundercloud Fortress, it's not convenient to offend him. As for you, Long Yu, you're a spy from the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute. In my opinion, you're far more dangerous to Yellow Sand City than Che Yunlong. You talk too much. As soon as Long Yu finished speaking, his figure disappeared quietly. The next moment, he appeared beside the black-robed figure of Che Yunlong, who was about to leave. How dare you? I'll kill her. Che Yunlong was a little scared when he saw this. No matter what, he was only in the human tribulation realm. Although his alchemy skills were very good, his own strength was not that great. He saw with his own eyes that Long Yu, who was only in the human glory realm, defeated Lei Hang, who was in the human tribulation realm, with one move. He didn't have the courage to fight against Long Yu. Do you think you can kill her? The corners of Long Yu's mouth curled up. The fourth explosion of the Nether Dragon 9 explosions, Dragon Roar Dark Heavenly Snow, instantly erupted. Dragon roars entered Che Yunlong's ears, shocking him on the spot. Following which, Long Yu had already grabbed the beautiful girl, Xiao Yu, with one hand and flung her backwards, throwing her to Yi Luan's side. Gu Jun immediately took control of her. In Long Yu's opinion, this person must be handed over to Yi Luan. As for Che Yunlong, there was no need for Long Yu to hold back. Netherworld Realm, suppress. Following Long Yu's drunken yellow springs, which had already reached the pinnacle of perfection, a double suppressive force suddenly descended on Che Yunlong's head, instantly suppressing his strength by 30 to 40%. Even his flying speed was greatly reduced. Spirit Strengthening Pill. Seeing this, Che Yunlong knew that the situation was bad. He quickly shouted, took out a blue pill from his bosom, and directly swallowed it. Spirit Strengthening Pill, a low-grade earth-grade pill. With Che Yunlong's alchemy skills, he could actually refine such a pill. No wonder he was the chief alchemist of Thundercloud Fortress. If it wasn't for this situation, Long Yu really wouldn't have been able to catch such a guy and have the chance to threaten his life. But now, Che Yunlong was a sheep in a tiger's mouth. Kill! Long Yu shouted, and the first explosion of the Dark Dragon 9 explosions was released. The Dark Dragon 9 explosions didn't need to be used in a specific order. At this moment, Long Yu could use the first 4 explosions of the Dark Dragon 9 explosions at will. A dragon's roar shook one's heart, and it was accompanied by a burst of netherworld chi that exploded behind Che Yunlong. Even though Che Yunlong had taken the Spirit Strengthening Pill and temporarily doubled his strength, the Thundercloud defense barrier that he cast in a hurry couldn't withstand the Dark Dragon 9 explosions at all. This was a great desolate level martial arts technique, a terrifying martial arts technique that didn't exist in the entire Heavenly Mandate continent. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Che Yunlong staggered forward and shouted hysterically, "Yuan Liang, why are you still not coming out? Do you want to watch me die?" As soon as this was said, Long Yu and Zhu Tao's expressions changed slightly. This Che Yunlong was actually colluding with Yuan Liang? Yuan Liang was Yi Luan and Zhu Tao's big brother, and his cultivation had already reached the Tianhua realm. Long Yu also remembered that Yuan Liang and He Qinshua helped him when they were fighting against exotic beasts. Now, this Yuan Liang actually colluded with Che Yunlong to kill Yi Luan? Looking at Zhu Tao's expression, this fatty doesn't seem to know this. Chapter 445. Long Yu originally thought that even if fatty Zhu Tao killed Yi Luan, he wouldn't be qualified to be the 4th city lord. Now, it seemed that Yuan Liang was the mastermind behind all this. Moreover, even fatty Zhu Tao didn't know that Yuan Liang had colluded with Che Yunlong. It was obvious that Yuan Liang's plan was flawless. At that time, if Yi Luan died from taking the poison, no one would suspect Yuan Liang. Unfortunately, Che Yunlong was injured by Long Yu's dragon roar. He roared for Yuan Liang's help, but Yuan Liang didn't appear. This made him feel despair. Che Yunlong realized that he had been betrayed by Yuan Liang. Because he didn't achieve his goal of killing Yi Luan, Yuan Liang wouldn't appear to save him. To Yuan Liang, the failure of this plan might just be a delay in dealing with Yi Luan. But to Che Yunlong, encountering Long Yu was an accident that nearly took his life. "You can't kill me." Che Yunlong looked at Long Yu and said with clenched teeth. "Why?" Long Yu smiled faintly. "I'm the chief alchemist of Thundercloud Fortress. If you kill me, the Lord of Thundercloud Fortress will never let you go." Che Yunlong said with a fierce expression. "Lord of Thundercloud Fortress? You mean Crow Du Sun, 2nd Lord Ning Yixing, and 3rd Lord Lei Wenxing?" Long Yu's face showed a hint of mockery. "If they were still alive, they would definitely avenge you. Unfortunately, the three lords are dead. The entire Thundercloud Fortress doesn't have any heavenly tribulation experts. It's on the brink of decline. Do you still expect someone from Thundercloud Fortress to avenge you? What? The lords are dead? Long Yu's words caused Che Yunlong to be stunned on the spot. Not only that, even the other martial cultivators of Yellow Sand Sky City were shocked. The three lords of Thundercloud Fortress were dead? How was that possible? The three lords were peak heavenly tribulation experts, just like the city lord of Yellow Sand City. How could such an existence die? It's not just the three of them who died. The corners of Long Yu's mouth curled up slightly. The 9 Heavenly Star Palace, the Kanglan Sword Sect, and other forces all lost many people. Don't you know that the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute had a beast tide and powerful beasts from the secret realm of the divine power appeared? Everyone was even more shocked when they heard this. The secret realm of divine powers was a powerful realm that all martial cultivators in the Heavenly Mandate continent had been pursuing for their entire lives. Since a powerful beast from the secret realm of divine powers had appeared, it was only natural that the Lord of Thundercloud Castle and the others in the Heavenly Tribulation realm had died. However, how did Long Yu know about it? So, even if you die, you will die in vain. No one will come to save you now. Long Yu sneered and looked at Che Yunlong. He did not care what kind of background Che Yunlong had. Since he had offended him and wanted to harm Yiluan, then as long as he seized the opportunity, there was absolutely no reason to release the tiger back into the mountains. Hidden divine character. Long Yu's figure disappeared from midair. Then, a dark light flashed beside Che Yunlong, who was fleeing in a sorry state. Nether Dragon Blade. Long Yu suddenly appeared, and the Nether Dragon Blade in his hand stabbed all the way through Che Yunlong's chest in an instant, directly shattering his heart meridian. Che Yunlong, the chief alchemy master of Thundercloud Castle, died in the hands of Long Yu just like that. Long Yu grabbed his body and found a lot of elixirs in the black robe on his chest. It was a good harvest, and Long Yu directly put them away. After the dragon seal of 9 underworlds was gone, there was no space of 9 underworlds to store things for Long Yu. However, the dragon scale of 9 underworlds and the nether dragon blade in his hands had formed a realm of their own, and they could be used to store things. Seeing Long Yu kill Che Yunlong just like that, the surrounding spectators all sucked in a breath of cold air. This Long Yu was simply too savage. Whoever provoked him would end up in a fight to the death. Even the chief alchemist of the Thundercloud Fortress was no exception. It seemed like the death of the 3 castle leaders of Thundercloud Castle was somehow related to Long Yu. Is Yu Wenliang back? Long Yu glanced at the surrounding Yellow Sand Heaven City martial cultivators and asked the crowd. His gaze swept past Fatty Zhu Tao, Qi Ziguang, Gu Jun, Bei Yuyao, and the others. I didn't see him. The crowd shook their heads. Zhu Tao, what do you think? Long Yu glanced at Zhu Tao and said with a smile, I wonder what benefits Yu Wenliang gave you to make you work for him? If you tell me the truth, I'll spare your life. Otherwise, be prepared to die under my short blade like Che Yunlong. Fatty's second senior brother Zhu Tao was a little displeased with Yu Wenliang to begin with. Yu Wenliang did not even tell him what his plan was. It was likely that he did not trust him completely. Under such circumstances, the benefits that Yu Wenliang had promised him would not be fulfilled so easily. Even so, Zhu Tao would not compromise with Long Yu. You're not qualified to kill me yet. Zhu Tao snorted. Come and kill me if you have the guts. I'll be waiting for you any time. How can I let you wait so long? Long Yu narrowed his eyes and then moved. He disappeared in the air with the hidden divine rune, which made Zhu Tao's body tense up. Zhu Tao was sure that when Long Yu used the hidden divine rune, he would not be able to find Long Yu at all and could only passively defend himself. However, Zhu Tao still believed that Long Yu, who was merely at the worldly glory realm, was definitely not his match. So what if he couldn't find Long Yu? Long Yu's attack could not break through the defense of the yellow sky blowing power. Just as he was thinking about this, a dark heavenly mandate divine light suddenly appeared on top of his head. It then condensed into a beam and swept toward his head. Heavenly mandate divine light, divine rune with the U character. Long Yu finally used the strongest power of the divine rune. He had comprehended 10% of the divine rune with the U character, which was several times more powerful than the law of the 9 serenities. Using it to condense the heavenly mandate divine light would greatly increase its speed and power. Zhu Tao did not expect that Long Yu had comprehended such a terrifying power. It was several times more powerful than when he was fighting Lei Hang and Liang Hua. He had just reacted and was about to use the yellow sky blowing power to defend himself when the heavenly mandate divine light, which was infused with the power of the U character, exploded on top of his head. A burst of air suddenly exploded and Zhu Tao's fat body was directly smashed into the street, creating a deep pit with a loud bang. You defeated an expert of the heavenly beginning realm 2 levels higher. Not bad, not bad, not bad. At this moment, a burst of applause suddenly came from the dark, accompanied by hearty laughter. You won, Liang. Long Yu frowned slightly. In the next moment, he felt a wave of killing intent envelop him, and then a strong gale swept towards him from all directions. You're a Tianhua realm cultivator, and yet you're trying to fight me, a mere human Hua realm cultivator? Changing the grain for the old Mengdi? My nephew is in danger? Si Qiao Ming Chuan Fu Rout? Long Yu laughed. The first senior brother Yu Wenliang of the Heaven Flower realm had launched a sneak attack, because he knew that Long Yu had gained control of the Dragon Skeleton Ancient Tower. He wanted to take advantage of Long Yu's inattention to strike and succeed. Otherwise, he would not have been able to deal with Long Yu. However, how could Long Yu be unprepared? He was ready to release the 9 Abyss Dragon's true spirit at any time. That way, even a heavenly tribulation realm expert would be intimidated by the 9 Abyss Dragon's true spirit. Compared to the Yu divine character, the true spirit of the Dragon of the 9 Underworlds was Long Yu's true trump card, his most powerful technique. Dragon of the 9 Underworlds, appear. After merging with the primordial consciousness, Long Yu could release the true spirit of the Dragon of the 9 Underworlds without fear of being devoured by it. To Long Yu, this was an earth-shattering transformation. Although Long Yu had yet to find Yu Wenliang, he had already released the true spirit of the Dragon of the 9 Underworlds. A pitch-black true spirit that seemed to have come from the 9 Underworlds appeared behind Long Yu. A strange and unstoppable pressure was emitted from the true spirit of the Dragon of the 9 Underworlds. Everyone in the surroundings was instantly stunned by this pressure. Yu Wenliang's elegant figure also appeared in midair. He was stunned by the true spirit of the Dragon of the 9 Underworlds. Long Yu frowned when he saw Yu Wenliang's figure. Yu Wenliang had initially assisted Long Yu to fight against those exotic beasts, which made Long Yu have a good impression of him. Unfortunately, he did not expect that there was such a person behind him. Yu Wenliang had returned to Yellow Sand Sky City before confirming whether the exotic beast tide had been repelled or not. He was ready to seize power and set up a trap for Yi Luan. I wonder where He Qinxue is? Long Yu thought to himself. But now was not the time to think about this matter. The appearance of the true spirit of the Dragon of the 9 Underworlds only stunned Yu Wenliang for a moment. Long Yu's figure flashed by, and the divine light of heavenly mandate condensed by the Yu divine character swept toward Yu Wenliang. The aura of the 9 Underworlds swept across the whole area. Yu Wenliang suddenly woke up, only to find that the heavenly mandate divine light had exploded right in front of him. The violent destructive power seemed to be tearing him apart. Tyrannosaurus of sand. Yu Wenliang raised his hand and condensed a Tyrannosaurus of sand in the shortest time possible. Suddenly, the Tyrannosaurus of sand rolled up his body and protected him. However, The defense of the Tyrannosaurus of sand that he condensed in a hurry was not enough to completely resist the power of the divine light of heavenly mandate. The power of the divine character exploded with the divine light of heavenly mandate, directly smashing the Tyrannosaurus of sand. Yuanliang's elegant figure was suddenly lifted off the ground and fell on the street with blood spurting out of his mouth. Long Yu shocked Yuanliang with the true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds. Then he blasted out his strongest move, seriously injuring Yuanliang, who was in the Tianhua realm. This scene suddenly made the surrounding martial arts practitioners of Yellow Sand City stare with their eyes wide open. They could not believe it. In a short period of time, Long Yu fought against 5 people in a row, starting from Lei Hang, who was 1 level higher than him. Lei Hang, Liang Hua, Che Yunlong, Zhu Tao, and the last one, Yuanliang. Chapter 446. Everything seemed extremely unreal. Long Yu floated in midair. Everyone was looking at him with a look of reverence in their eyes. The true spirit of the dragon of the netherworld hovered above his head like an ancient deity looking down on the world. No one dared to move recklessly due to its domineering aura. No one saw how Long Yu defeated Yuanliang, as everyone's martial arts realm was lower than Yuanliang's, and they were stunned by the true spirit of the dragon of the netherworld for a long time. When everyone came to their senses, they saw Yuanliang being sent flying by Long Yu. He landed heavily on the ground and vomited blood. SHT. In the restaurant, Gu Jun and Gu Yen regained their senses and widened their eyes as they looked at Long Yu, who was hovering in the air. Their eyes were filled with admiration. One must know that Long Yu was only at the human glory realm, but he was able to defeat Yuanliang, who was at the heaven glory realm. He had defeated an opponent 3 realms above him. Long Yu glanced at the people around him and knew that it was about time for things to come to an end. In reality, he had only managed to defeat Yuanliang by relying on his mental calculations. He had already guessed that Yuanliang could launch a sneak attack at any time, so he had already prepared to release the true spirit of the dragon of the netherworld. As for Yuanliang, he had only calculated that Long Yu possessed the ancient dragon bone pagoda, so he had been on guard. He had no idea that Long Yu could unleash the true spirit of the dragon of the 9 underworlds, instantly intimidating him. You can say goodbye to this world now. Long Yu flew through the air and landed in front of Yuanliang with the nether void dragon blade in his hand. At the side, fatty Zhu Tao, who had also been smashed to the ground by Long Yu, was completely shocked when he saw that even Yuanliang had been defeated by Long Yu. The fatty hurriedly crawled up with great difficulty, then knelt down towards Long Yu. Big brother, don't kill me. These things were all done by Yuanliang. Don't kill me if you want to kill him. Long Yu didn't bother with Zhu Tao at all. Instead, he wielded the nether void dragon blade and stabbed towards Yuanliang's chest. If there was a chance to eliminate his opponents, Long Yu would not hesitate at all, nor would he say anything. This was a habit that he had developed long ago. Only in this way could he avoid many dangers and possible accidents. However, what Yuanliang said next made Long Yu stop what he was doing. He coughed as he fell to the ground and coughed, "If you kill me, you will never see He Qinxue again." "Where is He Qinxue?" Long Yu asked coldly. The netherworld dragon blade stopped at Yuanliang's chest. Before Long Yu parted ways with He Qinxue and Yuanliang, the two of them stayed in the West Academy of Heavenly Mandate to clean up the strange beasts in the secret realm of heavenly people and the secret realm of true spirit. There shouldn't be any problems. Why did Yuanliang come back alone and He Qinxue was nowhere to be seen? Find me an earth-level healing elixir, and I will tell you. Yuanliang covered his chest. He was seriously injured by the divine light of heavenly mandate condensed by Long Yu with the Yu character. At this moment, what he wanted most was an earth-level healing elixir. That Che Yunlong just now must have an earth-level healing elixir. Here you go. Long Yu took out an earth-level healing elixir and threw it to Yuanliang. He didn't even frown. He just asked, "Where is he Qinxue?" Yu Wenliang quickly took the elixir and checked it. He couldn't help but feel happy when he found that it was indeed an earth-level healing elixir. "I will tell you where she is after I take this healing elixir." Yu Wenliang swallowed the healing elixir and said cunningly. Yu Wenliang, who used to be as elegant as the wind, looked extremely disheveled at this moment. His whole body was charred by the qi of 9 serenities. After taking the healing elixir, he finally looked better. "Tell me in 3 breaths or you will die." Long Yu couldn't be bothered to wait for this guy to finish taking the healing elixir. Of course, to prevent any accidents, he had to get He Qinshue's whereabouts first. "If you kill me, don't even think about seeing He Qinshue again." Yu Wenliang saw that Long Yu was determined and his face darkened. If he wanted to live, he could only rely on He Qinshue's whereabouts. Therefore, he had to ensure his own safety before he told him where she was. But looking at Long Yu, he didn't seem to be so easy to fool. He actually made him tell He Qinshue's whereabouts in 3 breaths. "If she doesn't want to see me, then so be it. Anyway, I don't have much of a relationship with her." Long Yu sneered, and the nether dragon blade in his hand suddenly pierced down, piercing Yu Wenliang's chest. Blood gushed out. Yu Wenliang felt Long Yu's action, and his calm face suddenly became frightened. "Don't do it, I'll talk. Talk." Long Yu stirred the nether dragon blade in Yu Wenliang's chest. That intense pain made Yu Wenliang's entire body tremble. If not for Long Yu controlling the strength and depth, Yu Wenliang would probably have died long ago. Long Yu was deliberately making Yu Wenliang feel pain, and then say He Qinshue's whereabouts. Towards this kind of thing, Long Yu was best at it. Moreover, someone as ambitious as Yu Wenliang definitely wouldn't want to die like this. "I'll talk He Qinshuе, she's..." Yu Wenliang was just about to say it when his eyes suddenly turned fierce. His body suddenly erupted with the domain power of the yellow sky flying sand nomological laws. A wave of yellow sand immediately enveloped Long Yu's entire body, wanting to corrode his entire body. "Kill!" Long Yu did not hesitate, directly exerting force in his hand. The nether dragon blade pierced through Yu Wenliang's chest. Following this, the yellow sand around his body immediately dissipated. Long Yu directly killed Yu Wenliang, without the slightest hesitation. Just as he said, he didn't have much of a relationship with He Qinshuo. It was not worth putting himself in danger for He Qinshue's whereabouts. One had to know that Long Yu defeated Yu Wenliang completely because of psychological calculations. If it was an open and above-board battle, he was definitely not a match for Yu Wenliang, who was in the Tianhua realm. After killing Yu Wenliang, Long Yu put away the nether dragon blade, picked up Yu Wenliang's corpse, and then flew into the restaurant. "He's dead," Long Yu said to Yi Luan in a low voice. At the same time, Long Yu directly threw an earth-level healing pill to Yi Luan, letting him consume it to heal. "Brother Long, thank you." It was impossible for Yi Luan to say that he was not grateful. After all, Long Yu not only saved his life, but also cleared away all obstacles for him in the future. Usually, Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang loved to make life difficult for Yi Luan the most, but he did not know that behind all this stood Yu Wenliang, the eldest senior brother that he usually respected. Looking at Yu Wenliang's corpse, Yi Luan felt a little emotional, but soon thought of something and turned to ask Long Yu, "Oh right, Brother Long, my master and the 2 grand elders went to encircle the exotic beasts. Do you know what the situation is like now? The exotic beast tide has been eliminated. Your master and the 2 grand elders are fine, but they haven't returned for the time being." Long Yu said, "It's just that He Qinshuo has been with Yu Wenliang." Yu Wenliang returned, but He Qinshuo is nowhere to be seen. "I don't know where she went." Following that, Long Yu gave a simple explanation of what happened after he separated from Yi Luan. Of course, he naturally hid the matter of Azura County Lord Shu Chan and the mysterious woman, Consort Yu. He only said that the exotic beast tide had been eliminated in the end, and that many heavenly tribulation realm experts were now recuperating in the Dragon Bone Tower. I'll send someone to look for fourth senior sister's whereabouts immediately. Brother Long, stay here for a few more days. Since the Lord of Thundercloud Fortress is dead, I think the Tiangang realm is going to change. Yi Luan said solemnly. You can handle the matters here. Long Yu nodded. I'll talk to my mother first. Go. Yi Luan nodded, then looked at the beautiful woman beside him, Xiao Yu. Yi Luan originally had some fantasies about Xiao Yu, but when Thundercloud Fortress's chief alchemist Che Yunlong died, Xiao Yu couldn't help but cry and even wanted to run out to save Che Yunlong. This made Yi Luan completely lose hope in Xiao Yu. He recognized the reality that Xiao Yu was just a woman sent by Che Yunlong to charm him. You can leave. In the end, Yi Luan chose to let Xiao Yu leave. Following Yi Luan's words, Gu Jun and Gu Yen released Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu turned around and left without any hesitation. Long Yu, Bei Yuyao, and Dou Zicheng went to the courtyard where he used to stay in Yellow Sand Sky City. Mother, this is the 100 Refinement 5 Elements pill. Take it. Long Yu took out the 100 Refinement 5 Elements pill from the dragon scale space of the 9 underworlds and handed it to Bei Yuyao. Okay. Bei Yuyao received the pill with a heavy heart. This was because Long Yu had already said that Wang Chongfeng had snatched it from Xiao Ziji. Wang Chongfeng had later died because of Deputy Palace Master Zhao's dirty trick. Little Long, you said that City Lord Xia, Palace Lord Ling, and Court Master Ling Hu are all in the Dragon Bone Tower now? Dou Zicheng asked with a slight frown. That's right. Long Yu nodded. I don't know when they'll come out. Maybe they'll come out when I leave. You're leaving? Bei Yuyao was taken aback. Yes. Long Yu nodded. Actually, there's one thing that I haven't made public. I've already passed the Great Selection, and someone will come to pick me up and take me to the outside world. Mother, you have to take care of yourself during this period. Just stay in Yellow Sand Sky City and recuperate. I'll be back to avenge Senior Wang Chongfeng soon. Pass the Great Selection and go to the outside world. Dou Zicheng and Bei Yuyao were pleasantly surprised. That's great. That's right. I won't forget, Father. I already have a plan for the Heaven Prison Thunderbolt Pool. Long Yu nodded and said. Don't be too impulsive. Bei Yuyao hurriedly said, the Heaven Prison Thunderbolt Pool is too dangerous. It's best not to go in without absolute confidence. Take care of yourself, okay? As a mother, Bei Yuyao naturally didn't want her son to take risks. Long Yu glanced at Bei Yuyao and saw something in her eyes. He hurriedly said, Mother, don't go into the Heaven Prison Thunderbolt Pool by yourself. I've already asked someone from the outside world to help. There will be results soon. You just need to rest here and recuperate. Help from the outside world? Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng looked at each other and saw a trace of surprise in each other's eyes. Chapter 447. Since Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng were going to stay in Yellow Sand City, Long Yu had to inform Sha Yuantian in advance. Before that, Long Yu also saw Man Xian, Yen Huanma, and Tian Yutian. They had left the Northern Academy of Revelation and obviously couldn't go back. However, the three of them didn't want to stay in Yellow Sand City. I have to go back to the ancient Meng Kingdom to protect my tribe. Man Xian felt guilty. Since I joined the Northern Academy of Revelation, I have only been back twice in 2 years. Although the ancient Meng Kingdom has been very respectful to my tribe because of me, there are still incidents of bullying. The little prince of the ancient Meng Kingdom, Meng Duo Kai, is also in Yellow Sand City. Long Yu thought of something and reminded him. Haha, Meng Duo Kai is no match for me now. Man Xian laughed heartily and patted Long Yu on the shoulder. Brother Long, thanks to you, my blade technique has been perfected, and I have comprehended it to the transcendent level. I have also practiced a few martial arts techniques from the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Even though there is a huge gap between us, I have no problem dealing with Mendakai. That's good, but it is better to be careful. Long Yu nodded. I will also go back to the Tang Kingdom to see how my friends from the Jintian clan are doing. Yen Huanma also gently combed his hair and said, Your brother, Yen Xing. Long Yu frowned slightly and thought of the Kanglan sword sex genius, Yen Xing, who he still couldn't deal with. I am no match for him now. He is already in the heavenly flower realm, and I am still in the human initial realm. Yen Huanma was a little regretful, but his eyes were still full of determination. However, I will surpass him one day. In addition, the great selection is approaching, and I want to give it a try. Long Yu didn't object to Yen Huanma's plan. He wanted to kill Yen Xing directly, but the current situation didn't allow it. Now, Yen Xing should have taken care of the remaining beasts and returned to the Kanglan sword sect. Even though Long Yu's strength had increased tremendously and even defeated Yu Wenliang unexpectedly, it was still impossible for him to barge into the Azure Water sword sect alone. Before leaving the Heavenly Mandate continent, or rather, before leaving the Heavenly Mandate island, Long Yu still had a lot of things to do. However, with his current strength, he was still unable to accomplish these things. For example, he had killed Yen Xing and the 9 Heavenly Star Palace's Vice Palace Master Xiao. These were far from what he, a mere Hua realm cultivator, could do. In order to protect Beiyuyao, Dou Zicheng, Yi Luan, and the others who were still in Yellow Sand City, Long Yu would definitely have Sha Yuantian and the 2 great elders leave the ancient Dragon Bone Tower and return. Due to the exotic beast tide, the various major forces had suffered heavy losses. Among them, the Thundercloud Fortress had lost 3 of its fortress lords in the process of exterminating the exotic beast. It could be said that the Thundercloud Fortress was on the brink of decline. On the side of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute, the losses were the heaviest. Although the chief of the institute and the 2 elders were unharmed, their territory was hit by the outbreak of the exotic beast tide. They lost countless weapons, elixirs, martial arts techniques, herbs, and so on. Among them, the Western Institute of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute had been completely wiped out. Not a single person was left alive. These losses were enough for the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute to no longer be divided into 5 institutes. They could only unite as one. The 9 Heavenly Star Palace had lost a Vice Palace Master and an Elder like Xiao Ziji. The Azure Water Sword Sect had lost an Elder in charge of rewards and punishments. The Chess Soul Valley had lost a Chess Soul in the Heavenly Calamity Realm. The strength of these 3 major sects had also been greatly reduced. Of the 7 major forces in the Heavenly Dipper Realm, only Yellow Sand City and Glaze Palace still had their full strength. Moreover, these 2 forces had only suffered minor losses. It was impossible to say that they had not suffered any losses at all, especially in Yellow Sand City. When the exotic beast tide broke out, Yu Wenliang had just launched a sinister plot. However, he had encountered the variable Long Yu, which led to his own death. Cultivators in the Heavenly Hua realm like Yu Wenliang were also rare. The Yellow Sand City had also suffered many losses. City Lord Sha, there is something I need to tell you in private. Long Yu's consciousness entered the Dragon Bone Ancient Tower and transmitted a message to Sha Yuantian, who was resting with his eyes closed. The voice was so soft that only Sha Yuantian heard it. He did not open his eyes and only nodded slightly, indicating that he had heard it. After that, Long Yu told Sha Yuantian about the internal strife in Yellow Sand Sky City, and then he said, Now that all the major powers have suffered heavy losses, you can act as you see fit once you return. However, you must guarantee the safety of my mother and the others. Sha Yuantian frowned slightly when he heard this. Clearly, he couldn't understand why Long Yu was able to return to Yellow Sand Sky City and kill Yu Wenliang. Sha Yuantian had always thought highly of Yi Luan. Although he admired Yu Wenliang's talent, he was still not as good as Yi Luan. Now that Yu Wenliang wanted to frame Yi Luan and was killed by Long Yu, he did not feel that it was inappropriate. He just felt that it was a pity. However, shouldn't Long Yu still be dealing with the exotic beasts in the Northern Academy of the Mandate Realm, surrounded by the exotic beasts tied together with the Dragon Bone Ancient Tower? How could he return to Yellow Sand City? The exotic beast tide has been resolved. However, don't tell anyone about it for the time being, City Lord Sha. Long Yu transmitted a message to Sha Yuantian. We can take advantage of this opportunity to make some arrangements. Sha Yuantian nodded slowly. He immediately realized that this was an excellent opportunity for development. Yellow Sand City had developed the shortest time in the heavenly realm. Among the 7 major forces, it had always been the weakest. However, if they could make good use of this opportunity, they might be able to become the leader of the 7 major forces in the heavenly realm. At least, they could defeat the Thundercloud Fortress first. In that case, all the resources in the Thundercloud Fortress could be plundered, which was no joke. As for me, I have passed the selection ahead of time. I must leave here. City Lord Sha, I hope that I will not hear of any accidents happening to my mother or other friends before I come back. Long Yu transmitted a message to Sha Yuantian with a smile. Hearing this news, Sha Yuantian was stunned at first, but then he was overjoyed. This kid had passed the selection ahead of time. This was too surprising. So, the resolution of the exotic beast tide had something to do with the people from the outside world? The doubts in Sha Yuantian's mind were finally somewhat resolved. Moreover, Sha Yuantian was very pleased that Long Yu had been chosen and taken away by the people from the outside world. He had always admired Long Yu. Although he had failed to deal with Deputy Palace Lord Shao as Long Yu had said at the last moment of exterminating the exotic beast tide, everything else was clear for all to see. If Long Yu could rise in the end, it would definitely be an extremely good thing for Yellow Sand Sky City. One must know that among the 7 major powers of the Heavenly Dipper realm, Long Yu was definitely the one with the closest relationship with Yellow Sand Sky City. After giving these instructions, Long Yu's consciousness left the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. After a while, Sha Yuantian came out of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower alone. As for the other cultivators in the Divine Tribulation realm, they were still waiting bitterly in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. They still did not know that the exotic beast tide had been defeated. Haha, Brother Long, you are indeed a young hero. You resolved the crisis of the entire Heavenly Mandate continent with a wave of your hand. Impressive, impressive. The black-haired old man, Sha Yuantian, saw Long Yu as soon as he came out and could not help but laugh. This must be Brother Long's family and friends, right? Then, Sha Yuantian looked at Yen Huanma, Man Xian, Bei Yuyao, and the others gathered at the side and said with a serious expression, Brother Long, don't worry. Since your family and friends are in Yellow Sand City, they will definitely be fine. There are still some despicable people in Yellow Sand City now. Long Yu said. Those who harm their fellow disciples will be killed without mercy. A fierce look flashed in Sha Yuantian's eyes when he said this. I have long said that if they want to deal with our own people, they have to go through me. I didn't expect those bastards to really take advantage of my absence to attack our own people. I have already killed Yu Wenliang, as well as Zhu Tao, Qi Ziguang, and the others. Long Yu frowned slightly. If all their henchmen are eliminated, the strength of Yellow Sand City will drop a lot. It doesn't matter. Sha Yuantian waved his hand. In such a situation, he certainly knew what to do. If it were in normal times, I would be a little reluctant to do so. But now, since we have the opportunity to rob Thundercloud Fortress, it is not difficult to cultivate more talents. If we don't kill these people with evil intentions, it will be difficult to clean up the atmosphere of our Sand City. The City Lord is so bold. Long Yu finally smiled. He knew that when the news that he was chosen by the people from the outside realm was known to Sha Yuantian, then Sha Yuantian would have to obey his words. because soon, Long Yu would have the power to overturn the situation of the entire Heavenly Mandate continent. Sha Yuantian still longed for the mysterious and powerful people from the outside realm. Unfortunately, he had no chance to meet them. Only if he could enter the secret realm in his lifetime could he leave the Heavenly Mandate continent and go to the outside realm. However, this was an extremely difficult task. After that, Long Yu didn't do anything. He went to visit the injured Yiluan, and then he heard the news that the city governor of Sha Yuan Heaven was infuriated by Yu Wenliang's rebellion and had killed all the people involved, including his personal disciples Zhu Tao and Qi Ziguang. Sha Yuantian's means could be said to be ruthless, but his ruthlessness was not only directed at his own people. This black-haired old man was very bold. As soon as he returned to Yellow Sand City, he immediately united all the people in the city. And because they knew that the Lord of Thundercloud Fortress was dead, they suddenly became ambitious. This was also the situation that Long Yu wanted to see. Elder Wang, Long Yu silently thought in his heart, in the past, you were the fort master of the Thundercloud Fortress. However, the position of fort master was usurped by Fei Yidu Sun and the others. Now that your 3 traitorous disciples are dead, let this Thundercloud Fortress disappear with the wind. He would use the destruction of Thundercloud Fortress as a memorial to Wang Chongfeng, who had gone to the Heavenly Kingdom. Long Yu was happy to see the plan that Sha Yuantian proposed on behalf of Sand City. Robbing Thundercloud Fortress was really not bad for Long Yu. Chapter 448. Sha Yuantian quickly led a large group of people out. As long as he was a heavenly tribulation expert, it would be extremely easy to deal with the leaderless Thundercloud Fortress. As for the 2 supreme elders of Yellow Sand Sky City, they remained in the Dragon Bone Ancient Tower and did not come out for the time being. The 2 listened to Sha Yuantian's words and stayed in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower to confuse Ling Zhiping, Ling Hu Qianyan, and the others. This was to prevent them from noticing anything amiss and running out on their own. No one would disregard their own life. This was especially true for heavenly tribulation experts like Ling Zhiping and Ling Hu Qianyan. Before confirming that the exotic beast swarm had retreated, it was impossible for them to take the risk of leaving the Dragon Bone Tower. There's news of Senior Sister He. Not long after Sha Yuantian left, someone on Yiluan's side got the news of He Qinxue, which made Long Yu and Yiluan quite excited. Long Yu had quite a good impression of He Qinxue. At the very least, this woman had been protecting him during the process of fighting against the exotic beast swarm. In the end, she fell into Yu Wenliang's hands and disappeared without a trace. Where is 4th senior sister? Yiluan couldn't care less about the fact that he had yet to fully recover from his injuries. He stood up and asked the messenger. He was brought to the Tiansha forest. I heard that there are a few Tianhua realm elites from other sects watching over him. The newcomer immediately said. Sky Flower Realm cultivators from other sects? Yiluan frowned slightly when he heard this. Let's go to the Tiansha forest. Long Yu said bluntly. But, Brother Long, even you wouldn't be able to handle a group of Tianhua realm cultivators like Yu Wenliang, right? Yiluan was a little worried. Let's talk as we walk. First, tell me what kind of place is the Tiansha forest. Long Yu did not answer him. Since He Qinxue had been caught in the Tiansha forest, he would go and rescue her. Even if he was no match for them, he could think of other ways to save them. Fighting them head-on was not the only way to save them. Seeing that Long Yu was determined, Yiluan nodded his head in agreement and began to explain the situation in Tiansha forest. The Heavenly Fiend Forest was located in the 42nd layer of the Heavenly Dipper realm. It occupied a vast area, and there were many herbs growing in the forest, as well as materials used to refine combat weapons. Therefore, it was a famous treasure hunting ground in the Heavenly Dipper realm. Cultivators from the 7 major powers and other heavenly dipper realm loved to come here to search for treasures and increase their strength. In the past, the conflicts between the Yellow Sand Heavenly City and the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute, the Yellow Sand Heavenly City and the Thundercloud Fortress, and so on were mostly caused by the conflicts between their disciples in the evil Heaven Forest. The people of the Thundercloud Fortress had once hunted down the people of the other forces in the Heaven Fiend Forest, infuriating the heavens and the people. Because of this, the other 6 forces did not have a good impression of the Thundercloud Fortress. Near the Tian Sha Forest there was a Tian Sha City. It was not a big city, much smaller than Yellow Sand City, but it was the only place near the Tian Sha Forest where one could stay. After Long Yu entered the Renhua realm, it was not difficult for him to break through the 42nd level of the Celestial Spirit Shield alone. Soon, he and Yi Luan arrived at the 42nd level of the Celestial Spirit Shield. After a few hours, Long Yu and Yi Luan quietly arrived at the Tian Sha City. Long Yu looked into the distance and saw a layer of dark aura floating above the Tian Sha City. The closer they got to the Tian Sha Forest, the thicker the dark aura became. This place is not bad. If you are lucky, you can get a lot of things in it. Long Yu was flying forward when he suddenly heard a familiar female voice, giggling. Shu Chan, why are you here? Long Yu knew that it was the Azura princess, Shu Chan, who was following him. But with his cultivation, he could not find any trace of Shu Chan. He murmured casually. Yi Luan could not hear him, but he knew that Shu Chan must be able to hear him. I have to follow you. If you suddenly run away, I will lose a free laborer. The laughter of the Azura princess, Shu Chan, continued to reach Long Yu's ears, which made Long Yu a little puzzled. This Shu Chan was really like a lingering spirit that refused to go away. But this was not bad. At least when he encountered danger, he had some protection. Although Shu Chan would not attack other people on the Heavenly Mandate continent, if Long Yu was in danger, she could save Long Yu. In this way, at least she could ensure Long Yu's safety. The informant said that Yu Wenliang worked with other sects and forces to kidnap Fourth Sister. The closer they got to Tian Sha City, the more nervous Yi Luan became. Yan Xing, the genius of the Kanglan Sword Sect, and a warrior of the Heavenly Mandate realm from the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute. So, the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute is also involved. Long Yu narrowed his eyes. He did not expect Yu Wenliang to have connections with so many forces. He really had a wide range of connections. Unfortunately, in the face of absolute power, no matter how wide Yu Wenliang's connections were, they could not save him. Brother Yi, it's about time. Let's enter the ancient tower and go straight to the 3rd floor. Long Yu activated the dragon scale of Juyo, condensed the power of space, and let Yi Luan directly enter the 3rd floor of the Dragon Bone Ancient Tower. Then, he used the hidden divine rune and quietly flew into the ancient Tian Sha City. Although Tian Sha City was not as big as Yellow Sand Sky City, it had a longer history than Yellow Sand Sky City. It had existed for hundreds of years and had always been a resting place for martial arts practitioners who went to the Tian Sha Forest to explore. In other words, this was the gathering place for martial arts practitioners in the Tiangang realm. Even the disciples of the 7 major forces would temporarily stay in Tian Sha City when they came to the Tian Sha Forest. Long Yu used the power of the hidden divine rune. No one could find him at all, and he easily sneaked into Tian Sha City. Fortunately, Tian Sha City was not big. Long Yu hid himself and searched around. Soon, he found He Qinshue's traces. At this time, He Qinshu was unconscious in an inn, and in that inn, there were several warriors in the Heavenly Flower realm, frowning and talking about something. Xuanji Shanhai? Long Yu saw Xuanji Shanhai among them at a glance, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. It turned out that Xuanji Shanhai was Yu Wenliang's helper in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute. For Xuanji Shanhai, Long Yu had enough new and old grudges. More than 20 years ago, Bei Yuyao's Dantian was injured by Xuanji Shanhai, which caused her to be unable to break through the martial arts realm for so many years. During the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, Xuanji Shanhai repeatedly schemed against Long Yu, almost causing Long Yu to die in the process of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. Now, he actually joined forces with others to kidnap He Qinxue. Long Yu did not act rashly. Although he could easily sneak in and take He Qinxue away, he would also be discovered by these people. At that time, it would not be easy to escape. If possible, Long Yu wanted to scheme against one of them first, and the rest would be much easier to deal with. Therefore, Long Yu hid himself outside the inn. Although he was less than 10 feet away from Xuanji Shanhai, the other party could not feel the existence of Long Yu at all. It had to be said that the power of the hidden divine rune that Wang Changfeng taught Long Yu was very useful. What bad luck! I thought that if I went to the Thundercloud Fortress and other people, a big battle would break out, and we would be able to take the Dragon Bone Tower from that kid in one fell swoop. I didn't expect. Xuanji Shanhai and the other 3 sat at the same table and seemed to be very puzzled. Sitting opposite him was the Azure Water Sword Sex genius, Yan Xing, who was wearing a white robe. At this time, he said indifferently, but the current situation is not bad. Yuan Liang should have succeeded. If the plan is successful, Sha Yuantian should be dead. When Yuan Liang takes control of the entire Yellow Sand Sky City, we can openly join forces and establish a new force. When these words were said, Long Yu, who was eavesdropping at the side, suddenly came to a realization. This Yan Xing, Xuanji Shanhai, Yuan Liang, and the others' ambition was not just to be the 4th-generation city lord of Yellow Sand Sky City, but to establish a new force. This caused Long Yu to be taken aback. I just don't know where the Dragon Bone Tower is now, and if it was obtained by Xiao Xuanlong as planned. The other person was wearing the light blue clothing of 9 Heaven Star Palace. Obviously, he was a young genius from 9 Heaven Star Palace. He looked to be in his 20s, but he had also entered the Heavenly Flower Realm and was extremely talented. And the Xiao Xuanlong he mentioned was the Deputy Palace Lord of 9 Heaven Star Palace. Deputy Palace Lord Xiao was also Xiao Ziji's grandfather. It's funny that Xiao Ziji was so careless that he was actually crippled by an old madman, so we can only find his grandfather. But his grandfather is after all an old guy in the divine tribulation realm. With him around, we will have a lot of benefits. Xuanji Shanhai said bitterly. A treasure like the Dragon Bone Tower can only be controlled by geniuses like us. Only then can we lead the martial arts practitioners of the Heavenly Mandate continent to the outside world. I just don't know how the exotic beast tide is now. The remaining person was wearing a black robe and had the power of thunder and lightning all over his body. He should be a young genius from Thundercloud Fortress. This exotic beast tide is an opportunity for us, but if we don't handle it well, the entire Heavenly Mandate continent will really be in danger. Don't worry. With the Dragon Bone Tower and so many cultivators in the Divine Tribulation Realm, what can mere exotic beasts do to them? The white-robed Yan Xing laughed coldly. What the Genius Alliance needs to do is to deal with the aftermath and control the Dragon Bone Tower. The Genius Alliance. Long Yu hid at the side. Hearing this, he finally understood why these people had gathered together. There's actually a Genius Alliance. Long Yu wanted to laugh. These guys thought that they had enough talent and could lead the forces of the entire Heavenly Mandate continent, but they didn't know that things were not going according to their plan. The sad thing was that this so-called Genius Alliance didn't even dare to send people to observe the situation of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute. The reason was, of course, that they were afraid of being swallowed by the exotic beast tide. The funny thing was that this so-called group of geniuses was actually still scheming to obtain the Dragon Bone Tower and control the Heavenly Mandate continent. It seems that the Genius Alliance is an organization formed by a group of ambitious and blind people. Long Yu listened to them and shook his head. Chapter 449. Even though Long Yu had only comprehended 1/10 of the power of the hidden divine rune, none of the members of the Genius Alliance who had gathered here were able to discover Long Yu's existence. Long Yu had already observed the surrounding environment. There were many Jianghu martial practitioners in the inn. If he released the true spirit of the Dragon of the Nine Underworlds, he could kill one of the 4 people from the Genius Alliance with lightning speed, but it wouldn't make much sense. Why don't we save He Qinxue and go straight to the Heaven Fiend Forest? Long Yu was rather concerned about Shu Chan's words. Since Shu Chan had said that there were some opportunities in the Heaven Fiend Forest, then he would go and see if there were any gains. Then, he didn't pay attention to the conversation of the 4 Heaven Flower Realm cultivators in the Genius Alliance. Instead, he went straight upstairs and jumped into the room where He Qinxue was through the window. At this moment, the beautiful woman in blue was lying unconscious on the bed. No one knew what was going on. Long Yu jumped into the room, picked up He Qinxue, and flew out the window. It's just a normal coma. It's okay. Long Yu quickly checked He Qinxue's condition and breathed a sigh of relief. But the moment he picked up He Qinxue, the effect of his hidden divine rune immediately weakened. This caused the 4 members of the Genius Alliance who were talking downstairs to notice the abnormality in the room. There's a situation. Chase. Xuanji Shanhai's expression changed slightly. He got up and chased out of the inn. The black dragon sparrow wings on Long Yu's back spread out. He used the dragon sparrow instant flight and suddenly burst out with terrifying speed. He was like a black stream of light streaking across the sky of Heaven Fiend City. Many Jianghu martial practitioners looked at him strangely. They were quite envious of Long Yu's speed. Everyone knew that in the Heavenly Dipper realm, flying speed was too important. As long as one had the advantage of speed, whether it was escaping or chasing, it would be much easier and more convenient. When Long Yu activated the Dragon Sparrow instant space, no one in Tiansha City would be able to catch up with him. Therefore, even if Xuanji, Shanhai, and the others sensed that something was wrong, when they went to the room and found that He Qinxue had been rescued by someone, and when they caught up, they were already getting further and further away from Long Yu. Among them, Xuanji Shanhai took the lead, trailing far behind Long Yu, thousands of feet away. He didn't go back to his room to check. Instead, he chased after them, which was why he was flying at the front. Behind Xuanji Shanhai, Yan Xing and the 2 Heaven Flower Tier geniuses from the 9 Heaven Star Palace and the Thundercloud Fortress flew together and followed Xuanji Shanhai a few hundred meters behind him. As they were too far away, Yan Xing and the others were unable to see Long Yu's figure. They could only follow Xuanji Shanhai. Being alone at the front is exactly what I want. When Long Yu saw Xuanji Shanhai catching up, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He could find an opportunity to kill Xuanji Shanhai directly. However, when Long Yu tried to release the Dragon of the Nine Underworld Real Spirit, he suddenly found something wrong. The Dragon of the Nine Underworld Real Spirit in his Dantian was in a semi-dormant state at this moment and could not be released directly. This made Long Yu quite puzzled. If he could not release the Dragon of the Nine Underworld Real Spirit, then he had no chance of winning against Xuanji Shanhai, who was in the Heaven Flower Tier. Moreover, there were 3 other people chasing after Xuanji Shanhai. It seems that I can only run. Long Yu shook his head, and a black dragon sparrow shadow appeared behind him. It seemed to be integrated with his body, allowing his speed to increase again. The Dragon Sparrow instant space could only be used for a moment to increase his speed. If he wanted to accelerate after that, he could only summon the Dragon Sparrow shadow. It had to be said that the effect of cultivating a transcendent grade dark level martial skill to the Great Perfection realm was very terrifying. It was much stronger than when it was at the minor or Great Perfection realm. Take the Dragon Sparrow dance for example. The speed that Long Yu could maintain now was more than 3 times the speed that he could maintain when he was at the minor or great perfection realm. Even Xuanji Shanhai, whose martial Dao realm was 3 levels higher than Long Yu's, wanted to catch up to Long Yu was absolutely not an easy task. "It's that kid, Long Yu. He's back." Xuanji Shanhai, who was at the front, quickly identified Long Yu's identity and sent the news back to Yan Xing and the other two. Yan Xing and the other two exchanged glances and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Long Yu had actually appeared here. What about the ancient dragon bone tower? What about the other heavenly tribulation realm experts? No matter what, we must capture him and find out the whereabouts of the ancient dragon bone tower. If it's still in his hands, we'll snatch it. The black-robed young genius from Thundercloud Castle said with a gloomy expression. Until now, they still had no idea how Long Yu and the group of heavenly tribulation realm experts were fending off the beast tide. As the participants, apart from Long Yu, were still trapped in the ancient dragon bone tower, no one in the outside world knew the details of the fight against the beast tide. Moreover, the northern and eastern courtyards of the Heavenly Mandate Academy were still occupied by the beast tide and were in great danger. No one would go to investigate the situation in a short period of time, which made it much easier for Long Yu to act. He's going to enter the murderous forest. Xuanji Shanhai quickly noticed that Long Yu's figure was flying toward the dense murderous forest ahead and immediately transmitted his voice to the people behind him. Hurry up and chase him. Once he enters the murderous forest, it won't be so easy to catch that kid. Yan Xing's face darkened and he immediately increased his speed in the air. Unfortunately, he was already flying at his fastest speed and it was impossible for him to speed up at this moment. Xuanji Shanhai could only watch as Long Yu's figure disappeared from the horizon and flew into the dense forest. Although there was no soil in the murderous forest, there were lush trees. These trees were nourished by the 5-colored heavenly spirit glow, and their vitality was even more vigorous than the trees growing in the soil. With these trees as cover, it was impossible for Xuanji Shanhai and the others to find traces of him flying into the murderous forest from hundreds of feet away. In the murderous forest, after finding a cover to cover their tracks, Long Yu sent Yi Luan out of the ancient dragon bone tower. After all, Yi Luan was definitely more familiar with the murderous forest than he was. No one knew what existed in the murderous forest, and Long Yu did not want to suddenly run into any danger and die without even knowing how. In the murderous forest, the vitality of the trees is extremely terrifying. You can try to destroy that tree trunk. Yi Luan smiled and pointed to a giant tree at the side. Long Yu did not pay much attention to it. However, since Yi Luan had said so, he would give it a try. He took a look at the trunk of the giant tree and raised his hand to blast it with the royal water whirlpool. 9 water whirlpools swept out violently and instantly blasted on the trunk. If it was an ordinary giant tree, even a casual punch from Long Yu would be able to smash it into pieces, not to mention the 9 water whirlpools. However, the giant tree in front of Long Yu only had a few cracks under the bombardment of the 9 water whirlpools. Those cracks were still recovering at an extremely fast speed after the power of the royal water whirlpool was withdrawn. Impressive. Long Yu could not help but be moved. This was the first time he had seen such a vigorous plant. It seemed that what Yi Luan had said was right. After passing through the periphery of the murderous forest, these trees will intertwine and intertwine. If you want to enter the depths of the murderous forest, you can only pass through the narrow path of 3 jump. Yi Luan continued, no one can break through the natural wall formed by the trees. Even a heavenly tribulation realm powerhouse cannot destroy those trees with one move. Then let's go to the depths of the murderous forest to take a look. Long Yu's eyes lit up. The trees in this place are so lush and full of vitality. Maybe there are some treasures in the depths of the murderous forest. Many people think so, but no one has discovered anything. Yi Luan spread his hands and shook his head helplessly. How are you going to deal with the pursuers behind us? We don't have to deal with them personally. Long Yu shook his head. The matter of the exotic beast tide has been kept under wraps until now. I'm afraid that many people have already discovered that the exotic beasts have all been exterminated. Since that's the case, our Sand City's 2 Grand Elders should come out first. Since he couldn't release the Dragon of 9 Underworld's true spirit, there was no need for Long Yu to deal with Xuanji Shanhai, Yan Xing and the other 2. You mean to let First Elder Sun and Second Elder Sun deal with the 4 pursuers? Yi Luan was stunned for a moment before he said with a joyful expression, That's a good idea. Brother Yi, it seems like I'm lucky that I'm not your enemy. It seems like all your enemies die very miserably. I've never thought of provoking others, but there are always some blind people who want to deal with me. In that case, I won't let them be so arrogant. Long Yu smiled faintly. Because they were afraid that Long Yu would use the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda to deal with them, Xuanji Shanhai, Yan Xing, and the 2 young geniuses from 9 Heavenly Stars Palace and Thundercloud Fortress teamed up and entered the murderous forest. They had originally planned to search for Long Yu everywhere, but they didn't expect to see Long Yu standing alone in front of them as soon as they entered the murderous forest. He was squinting his eyes and waiting for them. This scene made Xuanji Shanhai and the other 3's heartbeats speed up. Be careful. Xuanji Shanhai became even more cautious. He didn't believe that Long Yu would just stand there and let them kill him. Since Long Yu was standing there and didn't escape, there were only 2 possibilities. First, he felt that he couldn't escape from the 4 of them, so he wanted to surrender. Second, he had his own trump card and wasn't afraid of the 4 of them at all. No matter how Xuanji Shanhai thought about it, he felt that the second possibility was more likely. Very soon, his guess was confirmed. Behind the 4 of them, 2 old men quietly appeared. They exuded the terrifying aura of the heavenly tribulation realm. They were Yellow Sand Sky City's First Elder Sun and Second Elder Sun. Chapter 450. Xuanji, Shanhai, Yan Xing, and the others exchanged glances and saw the intention to retreat in each other's eyes. First Elder Sun and Second Elder Sun were both Heavenly Tribulation Realm powerhouses. They weren't people that Heaven Flower Realm cultivators could fight against. Even though there were 4 of them, it was still impossible. The only thing they could do now was to escape separately. As for who would be left behind, it was up to fate. The moment First Elder Sun and Second Elder Sun appeared, Xuanji, Shanhai, and Yan Xing fled in 4 different directions as fast as they could. Among them, Xuanji and Shanhai went to the left, Yan Xing went to the right, and a young genius from the 9 Heaven Star Palace flew into the sky. As for the last genius from the Thundercloud Castle, he dashed towards Long Yu in black. He actually wanted to capture Long Yu and use Long Yu as a hostage. Smart. Long Yu laughed. He had to admit that the black-robed genius from the Thundercloud Castle was very smart. Now that the 4 of them were surrounded by First Elder Sun and Second Elder Sun, at least 2 of them would be captured. If they wanted to ensure that they wouldn't be captured, the only way was to capture Long Yu. However, this fellow from the Thundercloud Castle had underestimated Long Yu's strength. Hidden Divine Text. The power of Long Yu's divine text spread out. At the same time, he erupted with the speed of the dragon sparrow instant space. Instead of retreating, he advanced towards Second Elder Sun. The black-robed youth from the Thundercloud Castle lost track of Long Yu in an instant, causing his expression to change slightly. However, in the next moment, Second Elder Sun flew straight towards the black-robed youth from the Thundercloud Castle because he was worried about Long Yu. He opened his hand, and a Tyrannosaurus of sand roared and swallowed the black-robed youth. In the face of being captured by a Heavenly Tribulation Realm powerhouse, the black-robed youth from the Thundercloud Castle wasn't to be outdone. He turned around and spat out a mouthful of lightning. the tyrannical nomological power of the earth seal heaven steel rumbled out, and lightning immediately filled his body. As a Tianhua realm elite, this black-robed youth from the Thundercloud Fortress was definitely very strong. He was even stronger than Yu Wenliang, whom Long Yu had killed by surprise. Unfortunately, he was facing Second Elder Sun, who was in the Heavenly Tribulation Realm. A Heavenly Tribulation Realm expert who was in the middle of a Heavenly Tribulation was much stronger than a Heavenly Flower Realm cultivator. Facing the black-robed youth's lightning, the Tyrannosaurus of Sand only needed to bite down and the lightning was completely enveloped in the yellow sand, annihilating it. "Go!" Second Elder Sun shouted sternly. With a pull of his hand, he manipulated the Tyrannosaurus of Sand to bind the black-robed young man from the Thundercloud Fortress tightly and bring him back to his side. It was also at this moment that Long Yu's figure once again appeared beside Second Elder Sun. He looked at the black-robed youth from Thundercloud Fortress with a smile on his face. "You're very powerful, but unfortunately, you've underestimated me. Since I've appeared before you, how could I be easily taken as a hostage by you?" Long Yu smiled faintly. "Second Elder Sun, can you still catch up to the others?" "They ran too fast, and they ran into the Heavenly Fiend Forest. I'm afraid it'll be very difficult to find where they are now." Second Elder Sun raised his gray eyebrows and shook his head. As expected of the young geniuses of this generation, every single one of them has an extraordinary reaction. It's really surprising. Long Yu felt that it was a pity, but he could only nod. "Forget it, then." On the other side, Great Elder Sun had captured the young genius from the Nine Heaven Star Palace and flew to Long Yu and Second Elder Sun's side. "What should we do with these two?" The young genius from the Nine Heaven Star Palace, who had been captured by him, was in a sorry state. All the celestial chi in his body had been completely suppressed, and he could not use even a little bit of it. While we were fighting against the beast tide, these so-called geniuses were thinking about how to deal with us and snatch something from our hands. What's the point of keeping people like that? If they grow up, they'll become even more of a threat. A cold glint flashed in Long Yu's eyes. "Elders, I have no enmity with the two of you. Our Nine Heaven Star Palace also has no conflict with Yellow Sand Sky City. Why don't you let us go? We'll definitely thank you in the future. How about it?" The young genius from the Nine Heaven Star Palace suddenly said. Your so-called thank you in the future is probably waiting for you to step into the Heavenly Tribulation Realm and settle the score with me, right?" Great Elder Sun sneered. "Second Elder, do it. There's no need to keep such people alive. You really dare to kill me? If the Nine Heaven Star Palace's Palace Lord finds out, he'll definitely make your Yellow Sand Sky City restless." The young genius from the Nine Heaven Star Palace was instantly shocked and furious as he glared at Great Elder Sun. "You still want to use the Nine Heaven Star Palace to suppress me?" Long Yu snorted coldly. "I haven't even settled the score with Xiao Xuanlong, and you've already thrown yourself at me. It seems like there aren't many good people in the Nine Heaven Star Palace." "You!" The young genius glared as he turned around to look at Long Yu, and his face was filled with rage. However, before he could say anything, Grand Elder Sun had already made a move. Grand Elder Sun directly slapped his palm down onto his back, and shattered his heart and dantian. Blood immediately flowed from the corner of the young genius' mouth. Before he could say anything, he collapsed to the ground. Second Elder Sun paid no attention to the young genius from Thundercloud Fortress who begged for mercy, and he directly slapped the young genius to death. Long Yu couldn't help but sigh when he saw the fate of the two young geniuses. At the same time, he became alert. No matter how talented he was, he couldn't be too arrogant and domineering. Otherwise, only death would await him in front of stronger people. Staying alert was the most basic requirement to climb the martial Tao. If one lost their vigilance, they would fall one day no matter how talented they were. "Thank you, elders. It's a pity that Yan Xing and Xuanji Shan Hai escape. Long Yu thanked the two elders politely. You're welcome, Brother Long, Great Elder Sun chuckled. It's all thanks to you that we were able to repel the beast tide. You've even helped our Yellow Sand Sky City this time. If you have any problems in the future, you can come to us directly. I just hope you won't look down on us two old men. Ha! The two elders obviously knew that Long Yu had been chosen by someone from the outside world. That was why they were so polite and helped Long Yu to ambush the four young Heaven Flower Realm experts without hesitation. Xuanji Shan Hai and Yan Xing ran into the Tiansha forest. Brother Long, why don't you come back with us? These two so-called geniuses won't amount to much. We'll have plenty of opportunities to deal with them. Second Elder Sun raised his gray-white eyebrows and asked with a smile. It's fine. Elders, please go back first. Oh right, bring Brother Yi and He Qinxue with you. Long Yu called out. Yi Luan brought He Qinxue, who had already woken up, out of the shadows of some entangled tree roots, and flew up to greet the two elders. You want to enter the Tian Sha forest alone? Great Elder Sun frowned and asked. That's right. Don't worry, elders. Long Yu smiled and said, even if there's danger, I can still call for a few people from the ancient pagoda to help me fend them off. Brother Long, we can't influence your decision. However, in the Tiansha forest, you have to be careful, especially with Yan Xing and Xuanji Shan Hai in there. Don't give them any chances. Second Elder Sun said solemnly. Rest assured, elders. I know what to do. Long Yu said calmly. Then we'll leave first. Great Elder Sun nodded. Long Yu, He Qinxue looked at Long Yu, wanting to say something but hesitating. Sister He, what's wrong? Long Yu glanced at her with a smile on his face. Without waiting for Long Yu to react, He Qinxue actually pounced towards him, her delicate and pretty little mouth instantly imprinted on Long Yu's face. Thank you. I heard from Little Yi that you risked being chased by 4 cultivators in the Tianhua realm to save me. He Qinshue's delicate face was slightly flushed. After saying this, she turned around and left with the two elders. Don't worry about it. I haven't thanked you for protecting me during the beast tide. Long Yu touched the part of his face that was kissed and couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Actually, without my protection, nothing would have happened to you. He Qinxue said faintly, then waved her hand and said, Goodbye. I hope to see you again in the future. I will see you again. Long Yu affirmed in his heart, but he didn't say it out loud. He Qinxue kissed him just like that. She was the first girl to do so after coming to the Heavenly Mandate continent. Of course, he understood what she meant. It was a pity that Long Yu had to leave the Heavenly Mandate continent now and couldn't give He Qinxue any response. Brother Long, take care. You can come back to the Sand City before you leave. Before Yi Luan left, he probably knew that Long Yu wanted to take this opportunity to leave, so he said this as a farewell. I'll try my best. Long Yu touched his nose. He really couldn't give her such a guarantee. The Azura princess, Shu Chan, said that there were some opportunities in the Tiansha forest. Whether or not Long Yu could get these opportunities, he had to leave with Shu Chan after coming out of the Tiansha forest. It was hard to say whether or not he could go back to the Yellow Sand City before leaving. Seeing the two elders disappear in front of him with Yi Luan and He Qinxue, Long Yu knew that he had to go alone for the rest of the journey. Maybe the Azura princess, Shu Chan, would follow him. But if anything happened, the princess would probably not appear to help him. Long Yu couldn't put his hopes on Shu Chan. He had to rely on himself for the rest of the journey. The trees in the Tiansha forest are so luxuriant and have such vitality. There must be some secret hidden in the Tiansha forest. Chapter 451. Long Yu flew all the way into the Heavenly Fiend forest. The surrounding trees were sturdy, and every single one of them contained an incomparably tyrannical life energy. Let alone the current Long Yu, even a heavenly tribulation realm expert wouldn't be able to completely destroy a single tree in this heavenly fiend forest. Very soon, Long Yu figured out what was going on with the Dragon of Nine Underworld's real spirit. It was most likely in a dormant state and could not be released for the time being. Long Yu estimated that there was still more than half a month before he could release the Dragon of Nine Underworld's real spirit again. I have to sleep for more than half a month every time I release it. It's really delicate. Long Yu was a little puzzled. If that was the case, then even if the current him were to fight against a Tianhua stage expert, he still wouldn't be a match for the other party. This was because the difference in their basic strength was too great. Furthermore, the other party could borrow 10 times the power of the ancient code from the heaven and earth. Yan Xing and Xuanji Shanhai did not know where they went and did not appear in front of Long Yu. However, Long Yu still used the hidden divine rune and flew into the depths of the heavenly fiend forest alone. The deeper he went, the denser the surrounding trees became. However, the path that allowed martial practitioners to pass through became narrower and narrower. Not long after, he arrived at the location of the three-forked path. Although the Heaven Demon Forest was a forest, the dense and luxuriant forest only left 3 small paths for martial cultivators to traverse. Long Yu looked ahead and saw that the trees grew densely together. Their roots were intertwined and intertwined. There was no force that could separate them. Among these trees, there were only 3 narrow paths that allowed only one person to pass through. These paths led to the depths of the Heavenly Fiend Forest. Even if I go to the depths of the Heavenly Fiend Forest and follow these paths, I'm afraid I won't find anything. After all, the entire Heavenly Fiend Forest must have been searched by the martial practitioners in the Heavenly Dipper world. Long Yu furrowed his brows, before turning his gaze towards the seemingly impenetrable entanglement of trees that formed a natural barrier. These trees were intertwined with each other. Perhaps many people had tried to destroy them, but no one had been able to do so. This made Long Yu set his sights on them. Perhaps the secret of the entire Tiansha forest was hidden behind the natural barrier formed by these intertwining trees? From another perspective, the reason why the trees in this Tiansha forest contained so much life energy and were entangled here, forming an incomparably solid natural barrier, was it because the secret was hidden nearby. Long Yu was thinking like this when he suddenly noticed an unusual movement in the 9 nether dragon scale, and his expression couldn't help but change. Immediately after, a figure darted out from the 9 nether dragon scale in his arms and flew in front of him. It was Linghu Qianyan, who was trapped in the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda. Linghu Qianyan was dressed in white and had a long sword on his back. He looked extremely refined. As soon as he appeared, he saw Long Yu, and realized the situation around him. His eyes widened. "Young friend Long, why are you in the Heavenly Fiend Forest? Where are those exotic beasts?" It was only then that Long Yu realized that when he stored the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda into the 9 nether dragon scale, those who were trapped in the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda would directly leave the space in the 9 nether dragon scale and come to the outside world. Long Yu and the others were trapped on the first floor of the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, and the first floor was the only floor they could freely enter and exit. This left Long Yu feeling a little helpless. However, the truth couldn't be concealed any longer. Those people would come out sooner or later. The first one to come out was Linghu Qianyan. This was good news for Long Yu. The exotic beasts have been eliminated. "Court Lord Linghu, please go ahead." Long Yu straightforwardly told him the truth. However, he did not say much. When they were facing the threat of the exotic beasts in the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, this Linghu Qianyan actually agreed to snatch his ancient dragon skeleton pagoda. This caused Long Yu to lose all goodwill towards him. Now, if Linghu Qianyan wanted to do anything to Long Yu could just hide in the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda. Linghu Qianyan wouldn't be able to do anything to him. When Linghu Qianyan heard what Long Yu said, He was a little slow in digesting what he meant. The exotic beasts had been eliminated? How could there be anyone who could kill such a powerful exotic beast from the secret realm without the participation of the heavenly tribulation realm cultivators? Just because of this Long Yu? Impossible. Linghu Qianyan was certain that no matter how powerful Long Yu was, even if he controlled the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, it would be impossible for him to kill a powerful exotic beast from the secret realm. His guess was right, but he didn't know that the exotic beasts that appeared in the end were not only from the secret realm, but also from the secret realm of Emperor Path. If it weren't for the mysterious woman, Consort Yu, suddenly appearing, the entire heavenly mandate continent would definitely have fallen. In this tide of exotic beasts, Long Yu had gained a lot, but the heavenly mandate Sacred Institute had suffered heavy losses. Linghu Qianyan looked at Long Yu and said, "My young friend, what are you doing in the Tiansha forest? Why don't you follow me back to the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute? This time we have to thank you properly for repelling the exotic beast. Please don't decline." If it were before, Long Yu would have believed in Linghu Qianyan's sincerity. But when he supported taking away the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, Long Yu had already made up his mind not to believe a single word that Linghu Qianyan said. "There's no need for that. Please help yourself, master." Long Yu floated in the air, motionless as he spoke out calmly. Linghu Qianyan naturally saw the distrust in Long Yu's eyes and couldn't help but feel a little awkward. He had no choice but to say, "My young friend, I had no choice back then. I hope you can understand. After all, Master, you aren't usually so talkative." Long Yu raised his eyebrows. Linghu Qianyan was stunned for a moment, then shook his head and said, "In that case, my young friend, I'll take my leave first." Since the exotic beast tide had been repelled, he had to hurry back and rebuild the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute. He didn't want to waste time with Long Yu. Besides, even if he wanted to take away the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, he knew that he couldn't do it alone. As long as Long Yu hid in the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, what could he do? Seeing Linghu Qianyan turn and leave, Long Yu narrowed his eyes. The master of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Institute had some brains and didn't do anything to him, which made Long Yu feel slightly relieved. Then, he turned his head and stared at the natural barrier of extremely thick tree roots in front of him. "Let's try the dragon blade of the Void Spirit first," Long Yu thought to himself. This battle weapon was a battle weapon that contained the power of space. Moreover, it was infused with the primordial consciousness of the dragon of the 9 underworlds and the blood of the mysterious woman, Consort Yu. Perhaps it would have a miraculous effect on these trees. In the next moment, Long Yu held the dragon blade of the Void Spirit and stabbed at the natural barrier of the entangled tree root. The power of the nether character gathered on the dragon blade of the Void Spirit. A strange pitch-black fog drifted out and then condensed at a point, acting on the entangled roots of one of the trees with a loud bang. With a burst of power, the entangled roots of the tree were immediately blasted apart, and a large hole appeared in the natural barrier of the tree. However, behind the large hole was another layer of natural barrier. These trees were extremely thick, and there was no telling how many layers they formed. Moreover, the large hole created by the dragon blade of the Void Spirit quickly recovered under the rich life force. Looks like the dragon blade of the Void Spirit alone is unable to break through these tree barriers. Since that's the case, Long Yu's expression darkened. With a thought, he activated the dragon scale of the 9 underworlds and released the ancient dragon bone tower. What would happen if the ancient combat weapon, the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, was released in such a narrow space? Long Yu was looking forward to it. Very soon, Long Yu himself entered the ancient dragon bone tower and appeared on the 7th level. The ancient dragon bone tower appeared in the Sava forest and grew larger and larger. Very soon, it filled the entire narrow path and continued to expand. Long Yu was on the 7th level of the ancient dragon bone tower, constantly observing the situation outside. He discovered that the expansion of the ancient dragon bone tower could destroy the tree barrier. However, the trees were also growing and recovering rapidly under the effect of the life force. The ancient dragon bone tower could destroy the natural tree barrier by expanding, but it did not take long before it was firmly entangled by the roots of the trees. Ram it! Long Yu activated the ancient dragon bone tower and wanted to ram it into the natural barrier. However, he discovered that the trees had actually entangled the entire ancient dragon bone tower, making it impossible for the ancient dragon bone tower to move at all. This scene left Long Yu completely dumbfounded. What should I do? Long Yu was stunned on the spot. Retrieving the ancient dragon bone tower was a feasible solution, but in that case, wouldn't there be no way to break through the natural tree barrier? Since Shu Chan said that there was an opportunity here, there must be a treasure. Moreover, it was a treasure that even a Shura princess like Shu Chan felt was not bad. One could only imagine how precious it was. It was impossible for Long Yu to give up just like that. Suddenly, Long Yu turned his gaze to the outer ring of the 7th level of the ancient dragon bone tower. On the outer layer of the dense Hades Chi, there was a layer of 5-colored glow. According to Shu Chan, that power was similar to the 5-colored siphon law, but slightly stronger. This 5-colored glow can absorb all kinds of energy. Martial cultivators who fall into it will be sucked dry and die. Even the energy in heaven-level fighters will be completely sucked away, turning them into a pile of scrap metal. Long Yu's eyes lit up. If I can activate the power of this 5-colored glow and absorb the life force on the tree barrier, will I be able to break through this barrier? Long Yu did as he thought of it. After all, this was the only solution he could think of at the moment. He tried to activate the 5-colored glow and found that it was not as difficult as he had imagined. Perhaps it was because Long Yu was resonating with the entire ancient dragon bone tower, so he could activate the power. Go out and absorb the life force. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.